Welcome to Dude No Way Live, where we embark on a quest to play the greatest games of all time. I'm your host, Moonchild of Dude No Way, and today it is the great Season 1.5 yap in Marvel Rivals. The big Season 1.5 yap. You know it's been coming. It's been a long time here that we've been sitting in Season 1.5 of Marvel Rivals, just doing our thing, just enjoying ourselves, and a lot has happened in the 2 months, 3 months? How long has it been since Season 1 launched? It's been a while, dude. It's been a long time. And today, we're going to chat about Season 1.5, everything that has happened, everything that is going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, everything that has transpired up to this point, and some other topics as well. I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you guys all for being here. Sorry that I missed you yesterday. I decided to have a little date day with Star. She's at a friend's house for the entire day today, so we basically were not going to get to spend any time together today. She is going to help a friend with a newborn baby for the rest of today. So she left first thing in the morning. And I thought to myself, you know what, dude, if I'm not going to see her all day on Tuesday, maybe I should spend time with her on Monday. And so in doing so, I spent basically the entire afternoon with her, and into the evening we had a good time. We went out and got some food in the middle of the day, came back and had some fun, and then spent the evening together and all of that stuff, took care of the kid and had a good time there. So it was nice, man. It was a nice little relaxing day in terms of getting away from the stream, having a day where I wasn't streaming or like working or working on stuff in the back end here and all that. So it was a good time. It was a good time, and I'm excited to be back and doing our thing here. I missed you guys over the weekend. Obviously, I don't stream on the weekends anyway. However, I think that it is, it's always a bummer when I gotta go and do other things and I can't be here live putting on this show. I always enjoy waking up every day, deciding either I've already decided or, deciding what the theme of the show is going to be, getting it all set up, preparing everything in the back end, and just making sure that we put on a quality show for everyone. I just want to make sure that everything is cool here. It looks like it is. It looks like we're not experiencing any trouble. That looks okay. It looks like we're all right here. YouTube is telling me that my stream bitrate is lower than normal, but as I move myself around, everything looks pretty all right. I feel like everything looks okay. I think so. You guys let me know if you're experiencing any trouble or problems or anything like that. I'm not seeing anything come in from Twitch yet. Nothing on the back end here in terms of like chat or anything. Normally, at this point, I have seen something pop up, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen, some of my back-end messages from the different services that I have running, in the background, have, given me messages up to this point, but since they haven't, it makes me wonder if everything is cool. Like, in terms of OBS says everything is cool. My second and third monitors, everything is showing up good. Twitch is showing up good. YouTube showing up good. So, I don't feel like there should be any problems, but where are my messages, bro? Like, where are my, hey, let's confirm you are definitely cool, messages, that I'm used to seeing, that I ignore and never mention out loud, but, when they're not here, it makes me wonder, bro, where'd you go? Where'd you go? But anyway. So I was trying to start the show at 11, and then I had everything set up. I woke up after I got done doing my morning stuff. I sat down, I made the show. I knew exactly what I was going to do today, made the thumbnail, set everything up on the back end, set up the YouTube, set up the Twitch, made sure everything was good inside of OBS. I had it all good, and then it was 10:57, and I pressed start streaming, and OBS was like, I can't connect to the server. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, I can't connect. So I went through, I shut everything back off, I turned it back on, I sent back all of the settings, made sure that everything was good, clicked OK, clicked start streaming, and it couldn't connect to the server. I have no idea why that happened, but I literally spent an hour earlier setting everything up to be good to go, and then for it not to be ready at 11 o'clock when I was ready to go live was super infuriating. Because, what did I spend an hour doing that for if you're not going to work? You know what I mean? So then I restarted the PC, and after I restarted, everything was totally fine. I don't know where, I don't know how it got lost in translation or something, like how we were going to do the show and it was all ready, and then my PC was just like, how about if you don't go live? I don't understand why that shit happened. Anyway, but here we are. I feel like we were, I don't know, like five-ish minutes past when I was supposed to be live. Again, back-end problems, but we got everything all figured out here. So, I wanted to chat about Marvel Rivals today. I wanted to chat about Season 1.5 specifically, because I think Season 1.5 has been a good time inside of Marvel Rivals. There's been a lot to talk about. There has been a lot of happenings since the start of the season. A lot of costumes have come out. A lot of different events have happened. You know, we had like the main battle pass with the main event that happened there. We also had some minor events that happened along the way, like the Galacta's Cosmic Adventure thing that went on, where you could get your Mrs. Barnes Black Widow skin, your Mrs. Barnes Black Widow skin. I think that the event that happened during the mid-season, it was all right, dude. I mean, just in general, I don't think the events are really that impressive. I don't think in any game, like, and not just in Marvel Rivals either. This is not like a dig against Rivals specifically, but moreover is a dig against the kind of lack of substance that these events in any game kind of bring to the table. The seasonal stuff, when you get a game that runs on seasons, you know, you're going to have a big drop every few months, like every 3-4 months. You're going to see a big drop and lots of new content. For PvP games, typically a new map or a new game mode, maybe a new hero, and then some balance changes to kind of shake up the meta and everything. And then throughout that, you're going to see minor events like we had with Galacta's Cosmic Favor, and the minor events are always kind of just meh. Dude, like, I don't know who's out there, like, maybe some people really enjoyed it. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who really like the Western theme of the Mrs. Barnes Black Widow skin. You know, she kind of looks like a cowboy. She's got like the let me just pull it up real quick so that I can talk about it in depth. She's got like the kind of, it's a different gun model, which looks pretty cool, but she's got the pistol on her hip with a little holster, 2 pistols. She never uses pistols, so I don't know why those things are there. She's got a rope on her side, you know, as you would expect a cowboy to have. Got the, you know, the fuzzy, assless chaps. I don't know what these things are called. Chaps, right? Chaps? Anyway. It's a very cool skin, you know, a little pink bandana, nice little hat thing going on there. Very cool skin. I'm sure this hits for some people. I don't really play Black Widow, so I don't really care about this. But that being the kind of main reason to play this event is kind of cool. And then in addition to that, you know, you've got your Venom emote here that you can grab when you complete the entire thing, which if you're into that type of thing, I guess is fine. But like overall, was it very engaging? No. I mean, you just played the game regularly, dude. And then you got the little currency that you needed to be able to roll the dice and see if it worked and see how it went, you know? Like, and advance yourself around the board as though you're playing, I don't know, like Candyland or some shit, dude. You know, or Chutes and Ladders, right? Like, just any old board game that you played when you were a kid, that's basically just this. And the way that you got it was just playing the game. So, in terms of events, in terms of the popularity of Season 1 and Season 2, like Season 1 and Season 1.5, Season 1 also brought with it the Iron Fist, Black Widow / Star-Lord kind of like soccer ball thing. That I forget what the event was called, but you know, the Chinese New Year type deal. I didn't care about that really either. I did play through it. I played a few matches, whatever you needed to finish the event and get the little skin for Star-Lord. I played through that. Was it fun? Sure, man. I mean, I'm not really a Rocket League type of, you know, a FIFA fan or whatever. Like, I don't really care about soccer. I don't care about the little in-game event of soccer either. That does nothing really for me. So, in terms of, was the event cool? I guess. I mean, it's cool that you got a skin. I think that's pretty alright. Was it cool in terms of gameplay? Sure. I mean, some people probably really enjoyed it. It hit for some, probably. Probably not so much for others like myself, and that's totally fine. You know, I don't think that every event has to be for every person, and I think it's important that when they do come in and they put on these little mini events in the middle of seasons, that they're fun enough, but not so fun that you want to stop playing the main game to get the thing. Galacta's Cosmic Adventure was kind of the opposite of that, where this the other, like the soccer event gave you like a new game mode to play, Galacta's Cosmic Adventure was basically like, hey, play the game you're already playing and get more rewards. And while I think, you know, there's something to be said for giving out rewards and the cadence that you do so, I think all of that is important. I think having things to chase while you're playing a PvP game is also very important. I think it's very, I think it's a good thing overall that they keep adding these things, these little events and these little, I don't know what you want to call this, like boards to fill out to give you more stuff. Does it keep players engaged? To a small extent, I think it does. And I think that it is important. Because if you've ever played a PvP game where there is nothing to grind for except ranked, it can get old very quickly. I'll give you an example. I remember, and I just want to say hello to everybody who is coming in. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I missed you yesterday. If you go back to the start of the show, you'll hear me talk about how I had a nice date day with Star yesterday. We had a good time. We went out to a restaurant. We spent time together. She's not going to be here for the entirety of today, and because I won't see her at all, I wanted to make sure that I spent the time with her that I had. So, hello, Tier. What's going on, Hanny? Hello to my lurkers who are funneling in here as well, that don't talk in the chat. I appreciate seeing you. It's good to see you guys. I can see you on the back end here, so thank you guys all for coming in and chilling out with me. Today, it is the great, it's the big Marvel Rivals Season 1.5 Yap, and so we're yapping, and we're going to be talking about stuff in Season 1.5 and Season 1 as we kind of reach the end of Season 1.5, which will be ending very soon, as it is April 1st now. I want to say we have 10 days left of this season, I think. Roughly 10 days. And I want to talk about the entirety of Season 1.5 here, and also Season 1, and just say, like, you know, give our thoughts on the season overall. I think it's important to talk about. You're forgiven if you had a good time. I did indeed have a good time. I had a lot of fun. We went out, had a little diner date with just her and I while the kid was at school. Normally we would try and do something like that on the weekend, but both of us have other things that we have to do on the weekend, so makes it difficult to be able to find the time. And then again, like a lot of days I could just do it after the show, you know what I mean? But knowing that she wasn't going to be here today meant that it was more important that I spend time with her yesterday. So yeah, so we had fun. We had a good time. You can see the chat now? Okay, good. So anyway, like I was saying, with these little events, if you've ever played a game, a PvP game, where there's nothing to chase, nothing to grind for, nothing to chase, nothing to go after, except seeing your rank number increase, it can be pretty disheartening and can kind of ruin the experience pretty quickly. I'll give you a great example. A couple of years ago, I played Valorant for the first time. And Valorant, for those of you who don't know, is a totally different game from Marvel Rivals. It's not like Marvel Rivals, it's not like Destiny PvP, it's not like Overwatch, it's not like any of these other games that you've played in the past. It's more like hardcore Call of Duty. Search and Destroy specifically. If you guys have ever played Search and Destroy in COD, you know that Search and Destroy is like a plant the bomb type game mode where it's your squad versus the other squad. The objective is to plant the bomb or defend the site so that the bomb does not get planted, right? That is essentially Valorant in a nutshell. When you throw in that hardcore element, you've now got the same game where it is plant the bomb or defend the site and make sure that your team, you know, wins the round, basically, right? But when you add hardcore to that, you only have one life. So when you die, you can't be picked back up. And that can be very scary because once you're dead, your impact on the game is 0 from that point forward. You know, there's nothing else that you can do after that to make the game in your favor, to spiral it in your favor, right? Hey, Mike, what's going on, dude? Thanks for being here. Important question, is that a Hulk twerking emote? It is a Venom twerking emote, so you don't have to worry about that. And we'll talk more about the Venom emote here in just a little bit. Did you see what I sent in the Discord? I did not see, but I will pull it up and we will talk about that here in a bit. So anyway, like I was saying, inside of Valorant, it is a hardcore search and destroy type game, right? So when you're playing Search and Destroy, or you're playing Valorant, you have one life, and it is very methodical because of that. Whereas Rivals or Overwatch or Destiny, these are very fast-paced games. These are incredibly fast-paced, very, like, I don't know how to put this without without sounding weird, it's like a breakneck pace where you're always trying to move and act as quickly as humanly possible. You want to get to the next thing, you want to get to the next fight, you want to be there with your team, you want to always be shooting, you want to constantly be engaging. So you're building your ult charge, and you're getting ready to unleash that big ultimate that is going to swing the tide of the game, and that's going to make it like you're going to win the game based on your own ultimate charge, right? And that is how you play Rivals. That's how you play hero shooters. It's how you play like open sandbox type shooters like Halo or Destiny PvP even, but like, you know, Halo without the ultimate factor, but you get what I mean. But in Valorant, there was nothing to chase, right? There was no, like, you don't rack up currency to be able to get a skin. You know, you're not playing the game so that you can complete these daily or weekly challenges so that you can buy that skin for that character that you really, really want. Everything basically in Valorant that you can buy is a microtransaction. So like if you want a new look for your weapons, because I don't think they have hero skins in Valorant. If they do, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a little while since I played the game. But this was the issue that I ran into. They have like gun skins, they have like knife skins, and that is the thing that you work toward. But you don't actually get to buy them with in-game currency most of the time. You have to buy them with real-life money, and they can get pretty expensive. For example, I had a knife skin. I was looking through the shop one day while I was playing Valorant, and I was like, man, you know, these skins for these guns look really cool. How much is that going to cost? And I looked at the in-game, the currency exchange, basically. It was going to cost like $30 for me to get this skin for this gun. And I thought, that's pretty steep. Not sure I want to pay $30 for that, right? But then I saw that they had a knife skin. And the knife skin, it was all right, dude. I mean, it's a knife, right? Like, how often are you pulling out your knife to use? Like, how much are you going to pull that out and look at it, you know? And I feel the same way about the gun skins. Like, even if you use that gun as your main gun, is it worth $30 to spend on a skin for a gun? You know, in my opinion, it's not. In Call of Duty, you know, for the entirety of Call of Duty's lifespan, basically, you get to pull out these skins for the guns. You earn them in-game by completing specific challenges, and as you rank up your gun, you can unlock new things that will allow you to change the way that your gun looks. In Valorant, you gotta pay real money, but the knife skins was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Because I was still playing Valorant at the time. Even after I saw that the gun skins were like $30, I was like, alright fam, that's pretty goddamn ridiculous, but I just won't buy them then, you know? But then I was like, all right, so what am I working towards if not the rank increase? Because I don't, in any game, you're going to find that I don't really care about rank. If I want to be the best of the best, I'll just put the hours in and I'll become the best of the best. You know what I mean? That's how it works for me. Everybody's different. Everybody has different amount of time that they can put into games. Everybody has a different amount of effort that they want to put in to become either better or just play casually. It's up to them. It's up to you to make sure that you are playing the game the way that is fun for you. For me, if I feel the desire to push rank, I will push rank and become the best of the best, and that's just all there is to it, right? I will make it there if I feel like it, right? And then in Valorant, I was trying to learn the game and get, not only get better, but try to find other things to chase throughout that adventure, right? And then I found this knife skin, bro, and I swear to God, this knife skin cost $170 for a skin for your knife. And I was like, they can't be serious, right? Surely I'm just not understanding how this works. So I did some research on Google, and I promise you, there are skins for your knife. A little tiny, like this big, bro. Literally, like the size of this remote. You seeing this shit, right? Imagine paying like $200 for a sleeve for your remote, which is basically what's going on. Like, how fucking stupid is that? And it was at that moment that I was like, bro, I don't know if this is even worth playing to me based on their monetary practices. Because, like, I can deal with microtransactions, dude. I can deal with, if you don't like it, don't buy it type microtransactions when they're reasonably priced. But, dude, how can you, like, Valve as a company, how could you justify... I'm still holding the remote because I'm literally this pissed off about it. How do you justify paying charging $200 for a skin for a knife that you can't earn in game? There's no way to earn it in game. It doesn't even, that blew my mind. And it was at that moment that I was like, I don't think I want to play Valorant anymore. The monetary practices are too predatory. And this is coming from someone who used to play Destiny. And dude, if you guys don't know, Destiny 2 had the worst monetary practices in all of gaming, basically. Like, they were legitimately the worst possible monetary practices you could think of. Charging you for things that you have already bought, putting things into bundles that you have already paid for, but not giving you a discount on the actual bundle itself, allowing you to buy things in Steam that are actually nothing. Literally nothing. But charging you real money for it and letting you purchase it anyway. And then also selling you expansions that would later be taken out of the game, and not like, oh, you get to play it, you play it for a while, and then like you can go back to it. It's not relevant content anymore, but you can go back to it if you wanted to play it for whatever reason. I don't know why you would want to, but if you wanted to, you know, it's there. It's just not relevant anymore, right? Not that at all. Destiny would straight up be like, you bought this, it's gone now. Like, the entire launch of Destiny 2, for the first, 2 years of the game, all of that content, gone. You paid money for it? Go fuck yourself. It's gone, dude. You can't go back. You can't. You can never go back. That content is gone. Not even just, they took it out and they have it if they want to bring it back. They deleted it. They straight up deleted it. And for me, as someone who came from that atmosphere, from that era of microtransactions, playing Valorant, I saw that shit. The $170 knife skin, and there were some that were more expensive even than that. That wasn't even the worst offender of all of them. But I saw that shit in Valorant, and I was like, I gotta go, bro. I can't do this anymore. All right, so long story short, as to put a bow on this whole thing, bring it all the way back around to Marvel Rivals. The little in-game events that they give inside of Rivals, like Galactus Cosmic Adventure, are really actually very good for the game, even if they're not very engaging overall, because they give you something to chase that does not require you going into ranked and increasing your rank for no reason. If you don't care about that, if you just want to come in, you just want to play the game, you don't have to care about that, and there are still things for you to chase and get, and that is huge, because even with this stupid-ass, you know, Candyland looking board that we got going on here for Galactus Cosmic Adventure, I actually do like the way that it looks very much. I'm clowning on it, but it is tongue-in-cheek to an extent, right? I do actually appreciate what they've done here because it gives you a reason to play the game. There is something that you can earn, even if you don't necessarily care. There is something here for you to come back, you to look at. You can say, hey, I've got this amount of missions left over. I can get this amount of rolls on the Galactus Cosmic Adventures board, and I will eventually unlock everything and then get rewarded with the Mrs. Barnes Black Widow skin, as well as a stupid Venom twerking emote. Even though they are not that impactful, having that in general, I think, is huge. Because in a PvP game, PvP cannot be the only thing that you get for playing the game. There is a massive dopamine release that happens when you play games like this, which is the reason we get addicted to them, which is the reason we keep coming back. And the games are made in a way that is meant to capitalize on your addictive personality. So they have engagement-based matchmaking where you have... literally, the game is set to make you come back and play more. It is varying experiences with a win rate roughly around 50%, give or take 1 or 2% based on whether they want you to win to stay engaged or lose to stay engaged at this current moment. All of that is real. There is a psychological game being played on you every time you play one of these games. But that cannot be the only thing that you are playing the game for. That dopamine release, there's only so many times in a day that you can have that happen before you need to go to sleep and wake back up, and then now you can get hit with dopamine and flooded with dopamine again. Eventually, you will burn out of that, and you won't really feel it anymore. Even if you pop off and something crazy happens, you still won't really get the rush that you got at the start of the day, the first time that dopamine hit, you know? Or like the first time you ever played a game, for that matter. Like the first time you played Marvel Rivals and you were like, is this goated? You know? Like, when that happened, that rush will not happen the same way. You know, like chasing the dragon for an addict. It's exactly like that. So... when you add in these little microtransaction things that you get for free just by playing the game, it becomes like a massively important part of having a PvP ecosystem, right? So the fact that they added the soccer game at the beginning of Season 1, where you could go in and you could play soccer and get like a Star-Lord and an Iron Fist skin or whatever. I forget whose it was. I think it was Star-Lord specifically, right? Let me just look in here. It was it was Star-Lord's Lion's Mane skin, right? Like, you played through it, and if you finished the whole thing, congratulations, you got this this little Star-Lord skin. It's not for me. Maybe some people really like it, but you know, this doesn't appeal to me. But it gave you something to work towards regardless, right? Same with Galactus Cosmic Adventure. Gave you something to work towards while you're playing the game, and I think that is great. I think that is great. Overall, I think the season, from Season 1 to the 1.5 patch to now, has gone very well for Marvel Rivals. I will say that I do think the honeymoon phase of this game is either reaching its end or has already reached its end. And I think, realistically, if we're talking about whether or not the honeymoon phase is over, I think that it ended when Monster Hunter Wilds released, which was like about a little bit more than a month ago, end of February, right? Monster Hunter Wilds came out, and a lot of people were waiting for that game. A lot of people that were kind of itching for a new PvE experience. They jumped on that bandwagon, and they are enjoying the hell out of Monster Hunter Wilds now. Very different game than Rivals. However, because it came out in February and Rivals came out in like December, it gave it like a long period of time to breathe. And during that time, we played a lot of Marvel Rivals. Like, I'm sure you guys played a lot as well. I know many people have multiple accounts. I know just personally, myself, I have like 670 hours in Rivals since the launch of the game, and I think that is indicative of a quality experience, right? I think in general, Rivals has put out a banger product. The launch of the game, well, you know, a lot could be said about the optimization for PC. A lot can still be done in that regard as well. A lot of people crashing, a lot of hiccups when Doctor Strange opens a portal or whatever. You know, there's a lot of things that can be made better about the game, just in terms, like, at a base level, the ecosystem of the game, how it runs, how it feels to play, how it rewards. I think all of this is actually pretty good. And while it's not like top tier level, while it's not like the polish of Overwatch, the game has only been out for a few months. Overwatch has been out for more than 10 years. And because of that, or almost 10 years, right? Basically 10 years. Because of that, I don't think there is a way to release a game that is as good at launch as a game that has been out for 10 years, you know? So I think Rivals is the closest thing to competition for the hero shooter market that has come out in ever. No other game, zero other games, have given Overwatch a run for its money in the hero shooter genre like Marvel Rivals has. And I think that is just factually correct. That is objectively true based on the rise and fall of other shooters in the PC gaming and the next-gen console gaming space. The rise and fall of these shooters, they've released, they've done well for a time, then they've heavily dropped off, and then you basically never hear from them again, unless, you know, except for certain games, right? I'm not talking about your Fortnite, I'm not talking about that. That is its own animal. Fortnite is its entire own ecosystem and corner of the gaming space, but games like Paladins, you know, games like Deadlock that came out and kind of fell apart very quickly, and to a lesser extent, the Valve shooter that released very recently, spacing on the name of, but then the Finals also came out last year, which was a big shooter that was pretty popular for a time and just kind of fell off, you know? I think that Marvel Rivals has eclipsed all of those just in like the first couple of months. In terms, not only in terms of player base, but in terms of reach and in terms of the amount of quality product that came with this game compared to other games. I don't think it's really comparable. I think that when Season 1 released, and they released 2 new heroes instead of 1 new hero, like most other games would have done, that was huge for keeping players engaged, because you barely had any time during Season 0. What did we play for, like, a month? We had, like, 6 weeks or something like that, tops, of Season 0, before they hit us with Season 1, and they were like, brand new map, 2 new heroes, balance adjustments, game optimization. You know, not to a greater extent on the optimization front, but to a lesser extent, they did fix a lot of bugs with the release of Season 1. And then, 6 weeks went by. We played Season 1. We played the hell out of it. We played Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm, and we enjoyed these characters to a greater or lesser extent. You know, I have more to say about the characters in a bit, but we had a lot that came out with Season 1. Then Season 1.5 hit, and they were like, strap in, bitch. We got more. And we were like, how much more? And they were like, how about 2 characters? We were like, bet. And they were like, how about a new map? And we were like, stop it, I can only get so hard, right? And they just kept going with these balance changes, another round of balance changes to kind of smooth the meta over a little bit, you know? A couple of heroes went up, couple of heroes went down, kind of smoothed things out, you know, the curve a little bit there. Did some balancing to some of the outliers that were really, really running the game in Season 1, and even to a lesser extent in Season 0. Or greater or lesser extent, I guess, in Season 0, they hit us with a ton of changes very quickly that kind of cemented their spot in terms of, how good we can expect their seasons and mid-season patches to be. They kind of hit us with so much so quickly that we remained engaged for so long. And I think that is indicative of a company that is passionate about keeping their gamers gaming. And, dude, I have had so much fun with this game since the launch. I have had a blast playing all of the heroes. There is not a single hero in this game that I think is not fun to play. There are some that are not good. There are some that are not meta, right? There are even some that are downright fucking garbage, dude, right? But they're still fun. And even if they're garbage, based on the patch cycle and the cadence that they have put stuff out, we can anticipate that they will continue to come back and keep iterating on the game, keep buffing the characters that need buffs, keep changing the characters that need changes, and we can, just based on what they've shown us so far, trust that NetEase has the gamer's best interest at heart, right? And yes, they've put out a lot of microtransactions in that time. They put out a lot of things that arguably, you know, depending on how you feel about microtransactions, could be good or bad for the game or the gaming ecosystem as a whole. I personally think that when you release a free-to-play game, adding things for people to purchase is not a bad thing. I think that adding new skins in the way that they've put these skins into the game has been good. They've given away some free skins. They've added some skins you buy from the shop. They've added some skins you can buy with in-game currency. But pretty much nothing in the store is outside the realm of, I can earn this in-game if I really wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, even if you wanted to buy the Guardians of the Galaxy bundle for 4,500 units, right? There is a means for you to go and do that. Like, there is an option for you to earn this shit in-game, which is huge compared to other games. Like I said, like Valorant, you can't go and earn that $200 knife skin in-game. You can't go in and get like 10,000 kills with a knife and then get that knife skin. It doesn't happen. There's no mission for you to grind out. There's no other means of getting to that point unless you just open up your wallet, dude. And that is not good for them, but great for Marvel Rivals because it keeps players playing in a way that other games simply do not. Yo, Tyr, I'm glad you like that, dude. I'm glad you like that shit. Mike says, I got 2,100 saved up, 2,150 saved up in the units, and 754 lattice. And that's pretty good, dude. And like, I also have spent real money and used my in-game currency to purchase skins as Rivals has gone on. I bought this Punisher skin. I bought the entire bundle. The Punisher 2099 bundle. I bought it. No regrets at all. I paid all of the in-game currency that I had at the time, but I spent that time playing the game. You know, I spent that time earning this the old-fashioned way and not opening my wallet for it. And then on the other side of the coin, for Winter Soldier, I opened my wallet and paid $20 for this badass Dracula-looking skin for Winter Soldier. And why did I feel all right doing that? Because I had gotten so much value out of the game that I didn't feel like it was a big deal that I purchased this bundle. I felt like it was actually kind of worth it for me to spend the actual money, the real money, to buy this bundle, because I had gotten so much value out of just playing Marvel Rivals that I thought, you know what, dude, you have earned this $20. Thank you so much for a banger gaming experience, you know? And I think that a lot of games kind of fall off when it comes to that, because there is not enough balance between what you can earn in game and what you can buy with real money. But I think that Marvel Rivals did a great job in balancing that, and at least up to this point, right? Like at the end of season 1.5, as we currently stand, I think that there is enough possibilities for you to earn the currency in-game and purchase the thing that you want just by playing the game, and continue to play the game completely free to play. And that's huge. Let's see. Tier says, I have 8 skins and have not spent a cent on the game. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. 8 skins that you have gotten, and you have not spent a single dollar on Marvel Rivals. And that, like, is crazy. That is, like, unprecedented in terms of games in this genre and just games in this era of gaming, you know? Like, every game that you get now has a battle pass. Like, some kid out there just bought Hello Kitty Island Adventure and is finding out about the Island Adventure battle pass at this very moment. You know what I mean? And like, dude, that's just a made-up example, but that shit really exists. Like, this type of ecosystem is really how we deal with games now in this day and age. You know, in 2025, when you get a free-to-play game, when you see it come up, the first thing you do is roll your eyes at the thought of what microtransactions will be part of that game. You know, like, we had PvE games release, like single-player PvE games, or like, for the most part, single-player PvE games, release in the last year with some of the dumbest shit that you could possibly imagine that you would spend real money on. For example, let's just take one. I'll give you 2 examples very quickly, and then we'll move on to the next thing that I have to say, because there's a lot to talk about in today's show. I want to cover all of the things that I've been thinking about for the season 1.5, and I think that as we roll through these, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So make sure that you are leaving them either in the live chat here, if you're catching this on the replay, leave it in the comments, because I want to hear everybody's thoughts on the topics that I'm bringing up. I think all of these are good discussion points and things that need to be said. So, and if you guys are enjoying the discussion, don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, on the Dude No Way live channel, to press the like button on the show, because it really helps get our engagement and our viewership pushed out to more people throughout the YouTube homepage. And if you are watching this on Twitch, don't forget to link your Twitch account with your Marvel Rivals account so that you can get your Twitch drops for the end of Season 1.5 and be prepared for Season 2 to release, where we will be playing as well, ready to get you the drops of whatever comes in the Season 2 Twitch drops. So, with all of that being said, right, where was I? Because I lost my train of thought in my stupid ass rant there. I was talking about skins, I was talking about gaming. Okay, yeah, so in gaming, in the gaming ecosystem in 2025, right, just in the last year, I'm going to give you some examples of some incredibly predatory microtransaction practices that have happened in mostly single-player games that we, as Marvel Rivals enthusiasts, we don't have to worry about this shit, because we play a game where the microtransactions make sense, you know? We play a game where if you want to buy something, you can buy it, but if you don't buy it, it's not going to impact your gameplay in any kind of really serious way, you know? So, Mike says, it feels like you should be able to get more units from events. Well, I don't disagree with you. The daily missions that we get also give a good amount of the chrono tokens, which anytime you're purchasing something, you can use your chrono tokens in place of units. Same thing with lattice. You can use your lattice in place of units. For the most part, I believe the chrono tokens are interchangeable with units. So we do have a lot of opportunity to earn these on a daily and weekly basis. You know, we do have quite a bit of in-game currency that can be gained just by playing the game on its own. So, like, if they increase it from the events, I'm not going to complain about that in any way. I do think, you know, any amount of additional free stuff you want to give to your players is always a good thing. But, you know, there are a lot of other avenues to do it as well. So, last year, a game called Dragon's Dogma 2 released, right? If you guys have not played Dragon's Dogma 2, it's basically like it's almost like Skyrim in a way. It's got like a medieval spells and sorcery type RPG game, right? In that game, you can get a follower, you know, you go around, you do quests, etc., etc. You progress through the main story of the game. All the standard stuff that you would immediately kind of expect from a third person. Actually, I'm not sure. Is it first or third person? I don't remember at this point. It's not important to the argument I'm about to make here. But for the RPG type gamer, it's all the things that you would expect from an RPG game, right? Then you went into their store a few days after release of the game, Dragon's Dogma 2. Again, a single player for the most part PvE game. What do they sell? Well, if you want to fast travel, you can fast travel more frequently by purchasing the fast travel pack, which allows you a bunch of the reagent you need, the currency that you need to be able to fast travel from one location to another, to quickly traverse the map so that you can get to the next thing that you have to do faster. Yeah, dude. So you can buy that on their in-game store. You can earn a few in-game, too. Don't get me wrong. It's not like these are not earnable in-game at all. But if you want to fast travel more often, you got to open your wallet, baby. You got to... If you want to get from this part of the map to the next part of the map, and you want to do it fast without walking there on your own, you better fork over the cash you got from work this week, because that is the only way that you are going to be able to fast travel as frequently as you want. Imagine how stupid that is. Like, consider how incredibly ridiculous that sounds. Like, in any game that you've ever played, think about all the times you went from one location to another location by clicking on the icon on the map, and then you just go there, right? And then you load up into that spot, and then you start doing whatever quests that you have in that location, right? Now imagine that you have to pay $10 to be able to traverse the map in the game that you already paid $70 box price for. Like, consider how stupid that sounds. And now, realize that that is actually a real thing. Single-player games with monetary practices like this are so over the top, especially if they have a box price attached to them. If you're paying $70 for a game, and one of the features in the game is locked behind a purchase that you have to pay real money for, unless it's like a DLC which adds a massive amount of additional content, like Shadow of the Erd Tree for Elden Ring is not on that level. And I'll talk about Shadow of the Erd Tree in a minute, because I have a correlation to make between that and Marvel Rivals as well. But imagine in Rivals, right? Like, you're playing on one map, and then, you know what, you don't want to play on this map anymore. So for the next round, when you queue up, you want to play on a different map, but instead of just queuing up and you get a different map, you have to pay $10 for it, right? That would be stupid as fuck, right? Well, that's what happened in Dragon's Dogma. And I don't know how they got away with this. I don't know how more people weren't pissed off about this. There was a bit of an uproar at the time, but not as loud as you might think. Honestly, genuinely, not as loud as you might think, hearing that you can't actually access normal in-game features in-game without paying money for them. Like, some people cared, a lot of people did, a lot of people didn't, too. How is that? I have no idea, right? That's example number one. Example number two. This year, we had a game come out with a massive amount of kind of discourse going around it. That is up to you how you fall on the spectrum of the debate here. But Assassin's Creed Shadows, which just recently released. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, you can play as a historical black samurai who was taken to Japan and became under the employ of one of the feudal lords of Japan. This literally happened in history. Or you can play as a ninja, a female ninja, and they have two opposite sides of the story, right? A lot of people feel one way or another about this game. I don't particularly have any feelings about it. It is a game. If you want to play the game, play it. If you don't want to play it, don't play it, whatever. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, for real money, in their microtransaction store, you can purchase a thing to show you the map. Like, you know how when you're playing a game and you open up the map and it shows you like where you've explored, and then like the rest of the map is like grayed out or like fogged off or whatever you want to call it. We call it the fog of war in most games, right? That you have to go there to clear the map open so that you could see what is in that area, right? Imagine if you could pay real money for somebody to open your map for you. Well, you can. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, you can literally buy it in the microtransactions store. I don't know why this is not more infuriating to other people. Like, yes, if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it, right? That could be said about anything. But this is the map, bro. What? Like, imagine if Dora the Explorer, imagine you're watching an episode of Dora the Explorer and you got to the point where she calls out the map, right? And she's like, all right, map, where the fuck do we go, bro? And the map is like, I'll tell you, but you better hand me over them 10 pesos, bitch, right? Imagine how ridiculous that would sound, you know? Imagine how stupid that would look on a television show. Now, consider that it is a reality in a game that just released a few weeks ago. This is legit a real thing. This, stupid as fuck, right? Stupid as fuck. I don't know how more people aren't pissed off about that. These are great examples of predatory, ridiculous, over-the-top microtransactions that should not exist. Every single thing that has been added to the store since the release of Marvel Rivals, from Season 0 to Season 1 to Season 1.5, every single thing that has been released is cosmetic only, does not affect your gameplay in any way, and is actually kind of worth your money if you care about that thing. Like, any of these skins, if these things vibe with you, it is 100% worth the money that you could spend on it because you got a quality product otherwise that you did not pay a full price, box price for. The Assassin's Creed Shadows, Dragon's Dogma, both of these $70 base price games that have the nerve to charge you for features that should be in the game as it is. Like, expanding the map, like clearing out the map, you can do that on your own. Yes, that is technically in the game. But to be able to unlock it faster by paying money is ridiculous. Same thing with Dragon's Dogma. Yes, you can fast travel in the game. You can find these tokens that allow you to fast travel, but once you use them, they are gone. And after that, you have to pay real money. Stupid as fuck. $70, and now you want me to pay more money on top of this for a thing that does not even provide more content? It just allows me to play the game? What the hell? Then you go into the store in Marvel Rivals, and you find the exact opposite, right? I paid $0 for this game, but if I want to be Moon Knight and look like an Egyptian, like a mummy, I could totally do that. If I want to play Spider-Man and look like I am in a punk video, I can totally do that, right? Same thing, like if I want to play Magic and I want to look like I'm a hardcore metalhead, I could totally do that, right? And all of this vibes with different people. It's not like the microtransaction of clearing out your map where you're like, of course I want the map cleared out. Everyone would want the map cleared out so that you could see it. Who would not want that, you know? Who would want their map to be covered up? You know what I mean? That is not a gameplay advantage. The skins in Marvel Rivals are not a gameplay advantage in the same way that having your map cleared out is, or having your ability to travel cleared out is, you know? And, you know, so every microtransaction that has been added to Rivals has been a good one. And I do think that their monetary practices, as long as they continue down this trend, are going to remain pretty good as we move forward into Season 2. I have no complaints about it. I love the things that they've given you for free. I think that the Battle Pass was absolutely worth purchasing. And you could even advance through the Battle Pass without ever having paid a single dollar for it, which I think is huge. Like, you can get a bunch of things for what is essentially free, and I think that's great. It also gives you in-game currency throughout the Battle Pass, which I think is great. Does it give you enough currency to purchase the next Battle Pass? I don't remember exactly, but it's very close if it doesn't. I want to say it's slightly less than what you need to purchase the next Battle Pass by purchasing one of them, like the in-game currency that you get throughout. But that being said, it's so close that it is almost not even an issue. Like, paying $2 is nothing compared to paying $10 every couple of months. And again, There's a ton of stuff in here. It's not just you get a couple of skins, you get one skin or two skins, you get nameplates, you get emotes, you get sprays, you get skins, you get currency. You get, there's so much that you get out of the battle pass, at least just this first one that we've seen. As long as they continue on with giving us this much value, like, this is huge for the exchange of your time. Literally just your time. Not even really your money. Because again, you can earn all of this shit in-game. To pay for this on your own without ever having spent a cent. Huge. Massive. Massive W's all around in terms of the game release, in terms of the patch cadence, in terms of the balancing, in terms of and again, not everything is perfect. It'll never be perfect. It is a constant iterating cycle that needs to constantly be reevaluated, needs to constantly be taken into account, paid attention to. The meta needs to be watched from pro play all the way down to potato play, right? All the way down to I am a genuine Idaho potato who landed on a controller and accidentally queued into a Marvel Rivals game. All the way down to that level. From pro all the way down to potato. The meta needs to be watched. But it is being watched, it is being observed, it is being looked at least as far as we can tell up to this point. And the devs care about making a quality product and continuing to deliver on a quality product, which is huge and will build a lot of trust for them moving forward. In Season 1, I think the devs of Rivals, even though they fired their English-speaking company, or branch even in Seattle, they fired everybody that was part of that. And now there is no one that you can interact with in the States at all that will be able to troubleshoot your problems or you know, just be like a game master in general, like someone who has developer powers to be able to either ban, unban, restore your account, you know, fix things that are issues with your account, you know, et cetera, any technical issues that might crop up. You cannot actually talk to somebody in the US and have them fix that. And I do think that is kind of a miss, but they have proven that they are at least qualified and committed to being able to iterate on it from their base of operations in China, and I think that is great. I think that the US and Europe have really latched on to this game, while it has not taken off as hard in some of the Asian countries, and maybe not as hard in other countries around the world. In Europe and in the US, it has blasted into a new level of hype, basically, for this game, and the devs have built a lot of trust for that. And I want to give them kudos and credit where it's due, because it does not take a lot to lose the gamers in this day and age. Bungie, the company that makes Destiny, the company whose logo for their game that I have tattooed on my hand, the company whose Master Chief helmet that I have tattooed on my calf, like a company who I literally spent like 20 years playing their games. Bungie has completely lost my faith and trust as a company, and I don't know if they can ever get it back. NetEase is in the very privileged position to be able to say, hey, our gamers are on board with us. Our gamers trust us. They trust that we have the best interests of our game at heart. And because of that, they know that we will keep trying and keep trying to make it better. Keep innovating to make it better. And innovation is key, and competition drives innovation. So, well, we have our neck of the woods, right? Like our sect of gaming who is really into Marvel Rivals. There are also a very a strong opposition group that are very into Overwatch, the other side of the hero shooter coin right now, and that really hate Marvel Rivals, that really don't like this game at all. And that competition from both sides, for those of us who don't like Overwatch and do like Rivals, or even you're just neutral about either one, but you really like one or the other, this competition that's being driven by the two competing player bases, and the fact that they kind of pull from the same pool of potential players, right? There are only so many people that are going to play your game overall, and some of them are going to be over here in the Rivals camp, some over here in the Overwatch camp. But the fact that they're trying to pull from both camps, both games, that means that the iteration has to be constant. The actual work towards making a better game and a quality product has to continuously go. Otherwise, one player from one side may gravitate towards the other side, or they might lose from the Overwatch side and be given to the Marvel Rivals side, and this kind of competition that they're breeding between each other is going to lead to some of the best hero shooter innovation and continual development that we have ever seen. Because up to this point, Overwatch has had its ups and downs, right? It started off really strong. It had like a time where it kind of sank a little bit, and then it got popular again, and then it sank really fucking hard. And then Overwatch 2 came out, it got popular again for a little while, and then it fell into the dumpster, right? And now it's kind of in this space where it's popular enough, but not so popular. And then Rivals started off really strong, same thing. And now it's kind of evening out to a more like level playing field in terms of the amount of people that are coming in and playing the game. And the two of these games competing with each other for the same player base is going to lead to incredible moving forward, incredible development for these two games. And like, that's huge, dude. It's huge. It can't be understated how well NetEase is positioning themselves to be the company to trust in the hero shooter market right now. And I think that's awesome, dude. I think that's great. I think that overall, the Season 1 and Season 1.5 of Marvel Rivals have been incredibly well received. And I think that if they continue on this cadence, even if they slow down slightly, I think that NetEase is positioning themselves to be a real tyrant in the hero shooter space moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years. They could secure themselves the top position, or they could fumble the ball, right? And inevitably they will fumble at some point, but it's how they pick the ball back up after that and continue to run it to the end zone, right? This, pardon my reference, my sports reference here, for those of you who are either not sports fans or just kind of like outside of the US, maybe you don't understand the reference as much, but like, inevitably they will have pitfalls and make mistakes along the way. If NetEase continues to iterate and build this trust with the gaming community, though, I think that they are setting themselves up for a great, great time moving forward, and the coming years to Marvel Rivals are looking up overall. I think this game has a very bright future ahead of it, even though the player base is not as high as it was at the launch. No game is going to maintain the entire player base for the entirety of its life cycle, because people change, you know? New things come out, new things happen in life. Monster Hunter Wilds released, first Berserker Kazan released. People want to play other things, and that's totally fine. As long as they keep going, though, and they keep continuing to build this trust with gamers, I think that they will absolutely carve themselves out as either the top hero shooter or the top two in competition with Overwatch in the coming 5 to 10 years. It's gonna be massive stuff here coming out of NetEase and coming out of Marvel Rivals in general. Let me take a sip of this here and then I'll read this. Deer Park, that's good water. Alright, so Tier says, Marvel Rivals did something that I never thought I would see by making a Marvel character a 5v5 shooter, 6v6. But yes, I never thought we would see it either. I think that the IP, the Marvel IP, has carried the game a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think that, in general, the game would not nearly be as good or as popular as it is if we did not have the Marvel IP behind it. I think, in general, that the characters are so well loved and so I don't know how, like, fanatical fan base built around certain characters, built around certain franchises within Marvel, you know, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, you know, the Avengers, right? These kind of heroes were already so, like, well thought of in terms of the popular opinion, right? That when Marvel Rivals released, more people played this game than they would have if it was just like the exact same game but with characters that we had never heard of. Where Overwatch did that at the time in 2016. They came in with a brand new cast of characters that we had never heard of, and they got so many people interested in the lore, in the backstories, in the characters, in the interactions between characters, in how that all kind of fit together into the larger world of Overwatch, etc., etc. I don't know that there is a game that can come out and do that again and have people give a fuck. I think that it is an incredibly difficult market to break into. I think that only a company with the means like Blizzard could really realistically do it. You see, even a company like Sony, who tried to do it, failed. And they failed miserably because nobody cared. No one cared at all. But Marvel Rivals, all these characters, we like these guys, you know? Like, we like the Invisible Woman. We care about Captain America. We love to see Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Groot and, you know, Star-Lord and, like, Loki, right? And Rocket Raccoon, like, and to a lesser extent, like, you know, Moon Knight or even, who's a lesser extent character that you don't see as much, Bucky, right? Like, we love Bucky now more than we ever have before. Like, we cared about Bucky. We thought he was cool, you know, in the Winter Soldier movies. You know, I'm sure there were some comic book extremists that really loved this character, but the amount of people who love him now compared to the amount of people who loved him before Marvel Rivals released, night and day, bro. Like, people are dude, fanatical about these characters now, and even some of the less important ones, you know, or the less known ones, right? Like Squirrel Girl, who a lot of people didn't even know existed prior to Marvel Rivals. There are people on the Squirrel Girl hype train now that have never been there. Same thing with, like, you know, all of the X-Men, Magneto, Wolverine, you know, Storm. Like, these guys, this is insane how much good press this game has given to these characters and these stories, right? Like, I always loved the X-Men. I've been an X-Men fan for my entire life. I used to play the X-Men games as a kid. I used to play them as a teenager. Now, being able to play them in Marvel Rivals is like, feels like coming home, bro. I fucking love Wolverine. I love Magneto. I love Storm. You know, I really like Scarlet Witch. I really like, Captain America and Thor from the Avengers series, you know? Like, Iron Man is my favorite superhero, bar none. Like legit, just straight up my favorite superhero. To be able to play these characters that I have loved since I was a kid is such a massive W. And I think that like I was saying before, the Marvel IP made this game more popular than it ever could have been if it was just a cast of characters that we had never heard of. Hanny says, we love the Scarlet Mitch. Bro, the Scarlet Mitch... like, there are more Scarlet Mitch fans than there have ever been. And Magneto has always been a fave for me too. For me too. I think that he is one of the best villainous anti-hero type characters that has ever been in like comics or in print or in fiction in general. He is a bad motherfucker. He is cool. He is scary. He is slightly evil in the best way. You know what I mean? Like, these characters, we love this IP. And even if you don't love this IP, you at least know of them, you know? And that makes a big difference. They're, like, when Deadlock released, nobody knew who the fuck they were. Like, I'm just gonna pull it up real fast. I'm just gonna pull it up. Just let me pull this up real quick. I want to ask you guys. Okay. Here we go. This is a great example. Open a new tab. I'm just gonna pull this over here. We're gonna set that right there. I'm gonna go over to this screen real quick because I want to ask you. I want you to be so real with me, you guys. What's this guy's name? What's this dude's name right here? Yeah, the one that kind of looks like M. Bison from Street Fighter. The one on the left. What's his name? You guys know? How about this lady? Do you know her name? I assume that's a female character. Honestly, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, right? Yeah, so there's this lady as well. So, well, what about this red-bearded guy, right? If I move my face real quick. If I move my face, surely you will know who, where is it? Is it this? Take me away, goddammit. I'm trying to move my face, but I can't find the camera. There it is. Surely, you guys know who this guy is, right? You guys know who, the guy with the red beard and the gun. You know exactly who that is, right? I don't know. Yeah, no idea, right? No, dude, so this is from Sony's game Deadlock. And in case you were wondering who these guys are, I don't fucking know. I have no idea, bro. Nobody does. No one does. Nobody had any idea who these fucking characters were. No one knew. And you know what else? No one cared. Not a single person gave a single fuck about any one of these characters. Nobody knew their names. We didn't know their name, their backstory. We don't know who they are, why we should care about them. And subsequently, because of that, nobody cared. And you know what happened to Deadlock? You guys remember what happened to Deadlock? The whole game shut off, bro. It shut off. It's gone forever. The servers closed literally like a week or two after the game launched. Just straight up disappeared. Gone. They refunded every single person who purchased that game. They refunded the money that they spent. They gave it back, and they shut the game down. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say, like, this genre is super hard to break into. Overwatch did it, and they got us to care about their characters, right? They got us to give a damn. I'm just gonna pull this up real fast. Just real quick. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do exactly what I just did, but again. And we're gonna do this real fast. So if I go back over here, right? Can I make this smaller? I'm just gonna make this smaller real fast. Okay, let me ask you something real quick. You guys know who this guy is? You guys, do you have any idea what this dude's name is? Right, this one? What about this girl right here? Do you know this guy? Yeah, and I would wager that most people probably know the name of at least a couple of characters in this picture, right? Even if they have never played the game, I bet you most people could look at this and they could say, I know who that is. I know who this is, or I know who this is, or I know what this winged bitch, I know who this is, you know, or this guy with the big fucking hammer, I know who that guy is, right? You guys know, right? You have an idea, at least, right? And Overwatch did the same thing that Deadlock did, but successfully. This is exactly what it comes down to, right? This is the difference between, Tracer, thank you, see? You got it. See, we knew that one, right? Because they were successful. Because Blizzard did it, but they did it right. They did it in a way that people cared about the characters. They released banging, incredibly strong, well-made, well-put together, story-driven, cinematic cutscenes that got people interested in the characters, in the world, in the lore. Every character had its own personality. They had their own backstory. They had their own mannerisms and their own speech patterns, languages, nationalities. These people, all of them, hail from a different part of the actual Earth that exists right now. And you care about them. When you get into the game, you start watching these cinematics, or you start, they're not even in the game, the cinematics aren't, but like, when you get into the game, and you see these characters, you watch their cinematics, you hear about their story, like, you care, you learn, you want to know more. Like this dude in the back, right? This guy's from Australia. Like, what's her name? Tracer is from England. We got, fucking Winston is from the moon, right? We've got Farah is Egyptian. Right? We've got Diva is Korean. Like, we know this shit. We care about these characters. And this is just like the same way that Sony, who released Deadlock, is like a multi-billion dollar company. Blizzard released Overwatch, multi-billion dollar company, but they did it in a way that was correctly positioning their advertising and their characters, their resources, to be able to create a story and narrative and characters and a world that we care about, that we want to see, that we want to play in, that we want to further get into. And that is the difference between how difficult it can be for a company to do it and succeed, compared to how easy it is for a company to create the exact same type of game, do it, and fail. And it, like, literally, Overwatch's been out for almost a decade. Still going pretty strong. Bumps along the way, ups and downs, sure, but still going strong. Dedicated player base, dedicated fan base, incredibly well thought out in terms of the amount of in terms of the amount of characters that they put in. Much diversity throughout the cast. No matter where you are in the world, basically there is somebody who looks like you, who sounds like you, who you can relate to in some way, who you feel like you could be that character. Huge for that. going back to our Deadlock example, yeah, nobody knew about those characters. Nobody gave a single shit about Redbeard guy, you know, or about fucking whatever it is, Great Value M Bison from Street Fighter. Nobody cared. No one knew about them. Sony did a shit job advertising and marketing, and because of that, we don't care, you know? And Marvel Rivals is carried by the IP, is carried by the fact that we do care about all of these. We care about the Hulk. We care about Bruce Banner. We know his story. We know about Captain America getting frozen in a glacier. We know his story, you know? And we know about Doctor Strange and how he became the Sorcerer Supreme. We know about Groot and Star-Lord and Mantis and Rocket Raccoon. We know about the X-Men and Magneto and Wolverine and the dichotomy between them. We know about Venom and Spider-Man and their interactions between each other and the rivalry and villainous intent of Venom and his anti-hero arcs. And we know about Spider-Man and how he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man of Manhattan and shit. You know what I mean, dude? I'm saying, it is so heavily carried by the fact that we already love these characters. We already have an emotional attachment to these guys. So seeing them and being able to play as them makes such a massive difference in the popularity of the game. There are people that play that do not care. And for those people that are still out there playing the game, that are still out there watching and consuming the content surrounding Marvel Rivals, even though they don't care about the game, kudos to you, bro. Because if I didn't care about Marvel characters, I don't know that I would be playing. The gameplay is really good, but is it so strong that I would play if I didn't love these characters? I don't know, bro. I genuinely don't know. Maybe because it's so popular, but if it wasn't, who knows, you know? And I love that they have continued to add characters that we do care about. The Fantastic Four was a great addition because it continues on with the marketing strategy of Marvel and Disney overall. Because yes, they released these Fantastic Four, in-game playable characters, right? And yes, some of them are better than others. But the Fantastic Four movie is coming out soon, bro. And you know what's going to get way more traction because there are characters in the game? The Fantastic Four movie is going to do better at the box office because of that, you know? Because you can come in and people have been playing The Thing and Sue Storm and Johnny and fucking Reed for months, and they're going to come in, they're going to watch the movie, they're going to go to the theaters, they're going to buy the tickets, they're going to sit down, they're going to watch the movie, they're going to enjoy it more because they are more invested. Right? Even people who didn't give a fuck about the Fantastic Four prior to their release in Marvel Rivals are going to come in, they're going to watch that movie, they're going to like it, and they're going to come back and they're going to go home and play the characters in the game, and they're going to feel even better about playing the characters. And these two things are going to feed into each other, right? This kind of content ecosystem that Marvel and Disney have created for themselves is genius when you think about it. And this is kind of the way that they can continue their advertising far past the MCU, because there are only so many people that are going to read the comic books, bro. There are not that many people that are going to go out there and purchase a pen and paper book to read, or even the digital version of those comics. There are not that many people that are going to go and read these things, you know? But because they're releasing in game, now there are more people that are going to go see the movie. And because the movie's coming out, now there are more people that are going to come and play the game. And this vicious cycle of continuing to feed themselves more and more and more viewers and players and people that are interested, all of this is going to be huge. And the more Marvel Rivals releases these characters in conjunction with the release cycle of actual things happening in the MCU, and shows releasing on Disney Plus, and comic books releasing with different characters that have new storylines created because they became very popular in Marvel Rivals. I'm looking at you, Magic, who is a character that a lot of people didn't even know about prior to Rivals, is now booming in terms of a new comic book series that they created just specifically so that this character could get more hype, and so that more people who like the character in the game can come and watch the events of her life unfold in a real-time story. This shit is huge, bro. And the content buckets that they're creating by allowing these characters to exist in game and then putting them into more movies, or allowing them to exist in movies and then putting them into the game, is going to carry the Marvel Rivals content cadence for many years to come. As long as they don't fumble and they keep going, this will be a continuous thing that continues to get us hyped for the movies, that then continues to get us hyped for the game, that continues to get us hyped for the next season, and it's just going to keep snowballing over and over again until Rivals and Marvel, the name again, is back in the mainstream media the way that it was during the Infinity War saga, where we were all at the peak of erection for the game. You know, like, we have never been more aroused than during the Infinity War saga of the MCU, you know? And we are rapidly approaching that next step here because of Marvel Rivals and the marketing strategy based around them. So huge stuff coming out of NetEase in the last few months and in the months to come. My God, dude, what a great game this has turned out to be. What a great ecosystem that they are creating here, and what a great marketing strategy by Disney and their very intelligent experts in the field. I'm gonna take a sip of this water, and then we're gonna talk about the next topic that I wanted to bring up today. So, in Rivals, in Season 1, there were some winners, there were some losers. There were some big deal changes that have happened, and some that were maybe less important, maybe less impactful overall. Just want to make sure, as I move this around, is it affecting the brightness of my face? It definitely is. I'm going to maybe put it down a little bit so that that doesn't get in the way too much. Actually, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do one of these. I'll just put it right there. I'm just gonna put her there, pal. So, I wanted to talk about the big winners of... Hang on, let me start this over because I want to cut this into a video. So pardon me if I take a couple of takes doing this. I want to talk about the winners and losers of Season 1.5 of Marvel Rivals. Let's get into it. In terms of the winners for Season 1.5, I think that it is undeniable that Hela has been one of the big winners of Season 1.5. In the patch, she has received a buff that allows her to 2-tap in the head for any 250 HP target at any range across any map. It is an insanely powerful buff that has been given to Hela, and for a character that was already very in the meta at the time, it is even more so now. She is a massively underappreciated character in the low ranks, and a massively overplayed character the better and better you get at the game. The more that you play Hela, and the more mechanically skilled you are going to be able to get more value out of her than you can out of basically any hero in the current DPS cast. She is S tier, she is insanely powerful, and also insanely oppressive. You know, at the higher ranks of the game, you're seeing Hela get banned quite a lot, just because of how easy it is to be able to get an incredibly high amount of value out of her without having to really do too much. You know, if you are accurate, the more accurate you become, the better this character gets, to an extent that she is basically the best DPS character in the entire game. So, I do think that Hela has been a massive winner in Season 1.5. The change that lets her 2-tap across the map is partially to blame, but, excuse me, the change that lets her 2-tap from across the map is partially to blame, but in addition to that, her kit overall is designed in such a way that she is just an insanely oppressive hero. She is hit scan, so she's able to hit people that are really far away and not have to worry about the travel time, reducing her ability to stay on target. The hit scan bias in hero shooters is ever present. It's never going to go away, dude. Even in other games, you're going to see sniper characters that are hit scan dominate the meta. You're going to see DPS characters that are long range hit scan dominate the meta. And it's never going to stop. But it is even more oppressive inside of Marvel Rivals because each character is kind of a little bit more overpowered a little bit more overpowered than you'll see from other characters in other games. I think Hela has been a massive, massive W in Season 1.5. And I think that the character will remain at the top of the meta until they balance her further or nuke her into the ground. Her ultimate is incredibly good, can be team wiping in the right circumstances as long as it's not countered. It can be a team wipe, or you can very easily secure the kills that you need against certain characters to be able to win a team fight and snowball the game from that point forward. Hela is that bitch, dude. 100% that bitch. She is so strong. She is so ridiculously good. And I don't think that there's any denying that. In terms of neutral character, in the Season 1.5 patch, I think Black Widow is largely neutral. And I think that Black Widow is largely neutral because you will see a lot of Black Widows complain about the changes to her ultimate. However, what you don't see as much is people giving credit where it's due, because NetEase balanced this character in a way with this season that made her better, but also worse. In a beautifully nuanced way. This is an incredibly tough character to balance. For those of you who don't play her, she is a bee's dick away from being able to one-shot characters in the head that are some of the lowest HP characters in the entire game. She is super close to being able to just straight up delete these characters. Again, a long-range hit scan dominates the game, but she can't quite one-tap them. She requires another character to come in and assist her with the one-tap, and that is part of what makes her balanced as much as she can be balanced, right? So, in general, I think that Black Widow is very strong, but if you're bad at aiming, she's very weak, right? She's like, you could just get more value out of any other character. If you can't shoot a gun and hit a head, then don't ever play her for any reason, right? But in Season 1.5, her nerf came into her ultimate. The slow speed from her ultimate used to be an 80% slow. So you're walking around 20% speed. You're basically, walking like an old man with a cane, trying to get from one part of the map to the next part, but you can barely move, right? In Season 1.5, that got nerfed down significantly, and now it's like a 55% slow, but it applies the vulnerable effect to targets that are hit, which increases the damage they take, which means that they can actually be one hit. So what they did in this Season 1.5 patch was, yes, they nerfed her, and yes, she is less powerful with her ultimate than she was before, but she's also more powerful with her ultimate than she was before, because she got an increase to the amount of times that she can one-hit characters, and I think that that cannot be overlooked in terms of how powerful it is. She is more oppressive now than she ever could have been before, because there is a window where she can one-hit you. And on her own, that is huge, because prior to this, you needed a Storm for a damage boost, or a Mantis for a damage boost, or a Rocket Raccoon ultimate to be able to get you to the point where you could one-hit these characters. Now, she can do it on her own without having to combo a bunch of different things together. She's not spinning a bunch of plates to be able to get the one-tap to work. No, she just hits Q, fires it off, and now she can one-hit targets that got hit by the ultimate, and that is huge. Very neutral, not a winner, definitely not a loser, and I think that people need to remember that as they look at this character moving forward. In terms of big losers for this patch, Mr. Fantastic is maybe the biggest loser of them all. Mr. Fantastic got balanced at the start of this season, and look how mad he is about it too, bro. Just look how pissed off he is, dude. Like, he is mad that he is not in the meta. I know, dude, Reed Richards, you're like the smartest man on earth, or like one of the smartest people to have ever lived, right? But somehow they can't figure out how to balance your kit in a way that makes you feel both impactful and strong while not being too oppressive. Instead, what we get is this refrigerator walking noodle-armed bitch that basically does nothing. This hybrid between a DPS and a tank that basically does nothing in terms of what he should be able to pull off. And that is really sad, dude. They balanced him a bit at the start of Season 1.5. They made his ultimate a little bit different. Extended the diameter of how far away someone can be before you actually hit them and damage them with the ultimate. But also reduced the damage that the ultimate actually deals, which means that you are in this position where the ultimate that was already kind of bad is now still fucking bad. Still pretty fucking bad. And, like, that is not good, you know? The character, they could have done a lot with this guy. And he had a full 6 weeks of being ass tier, butthole tier, whatever you want to call it, garbage tier, F, whatever. The lowest of the low. The worst character in the entire game, worse than Scarlet Witch. The worst character in the entire game in terms of a damage character. 6 weeks worth of that, right? They had the chance to balance him, and when they balanced him, they didn't do it well. And now he is still at the bottom of the meta, the worst character in all of Marvel Rivals, in my opinion. I don't think there is anybody worse than this guy. He just sucks, bro. He sucks. And I'm not sure that he is going to get good. The meta can't just suddenly shift without you actually buffing Reed to be able to put him in a spot where people give a shit. It just can't. There isn't enough that could change with the current meta that would make him good. So, Netties, if you're listening to this, please buff Mr. Fantastic. Make Reed Richards good enough. Lower his ability to tank. Increase his damage so that he feels like a proper DPS character. Please. He deserves it. The character's not that bad overall when you get him working, you get him going. It's just that the amount of damage that he deals is so low that he really can't do anything. You just heal through it, and you just live forever, and he just is annoying more than he is impactful. So, Mr. Fantastic, big L in terms of the Season 1.5 patch. In terms of winners, I think Venom is actually a huge winner for this patch. And the reason that he's a big winner is because prior to this patch, Venom had a decent spot in the meta. He was all right. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the worst. He had good survivability. He could deal all right damage, kind of okay damage. And then he flies away before he gets killed. You know what I mean? All of that I think is good. However, in the Season 1.5 patch, his Frenzied Arrival ability, which, if you guys don't know, is the one where he dives down out of the sky and then lands on people, it now pulls targets into Venom. It doesn't show it in this example, or at least it doesn't show it very well, but it pulls targets into Venom now so that they get launched up into the air and are closer to him when they land on the ground. That is actually a massive W change for this character. Because he was already pretty good. But now, bro, now you can send them flying into you, and then that allows you to attach your cellular corrosion, right-click ability, the umbilical cord, right? So you get the damage from the Frenzied Arrival. You get more damage now than you've ever gotten with the cellular corrosion. And then if you know how to combo his abilities, you can follow that up to quickly eliminate a 250, 275 HP target very, very quickly. Just delete them, right? Or if you combo it with his ultimate, you just fucking delete a bunch of things, right? You can fucking delete like 5 things at the same time if you can time his Frenzied Arrival, cellular corrosion, and ultimate together in the proper way. You can just straight up delete an entire team. And that is huge, right? Venom sitting very pretty in the meta right now, but that's not the only part that makes him really good. Because Venom also got the introduction of Dive as a hard meta in this season. And the reason that Dive got to be introduced is because support ults got nerfed. And the reason that support ults getting nerfed is so influential and so important to Dive becoming a real integral part of the meta is that if support ults remain as strong as they were before, if they stayed as strong as they were in Season 0 and to a lesser extent in Season 1, and as prevalent, right? If they kept coming up as often, if they stayed as strong, then a Dive doesn't matter anymore because the pressure that Dive can do is only good if they can actually kill things. If you can't actually follow through and get the kills on things, then Dive is trash, right? But now that support ults have been nerfed in their efficiency, support ults have been nerfed in their time that they get to come up, like how often you can use them. Now that that has happened, Dive is looking strong, bro. And because Dive is looking strong, Venom is the Dive tank. So now you're seeing more Venom than you've ever seen in the game's history. It has never been a thing where Dive has like kind of dominated. But at this point in the game, if you can dive correctly with your Venom, you know, if you're a Spider-Man Venom combo, where are you, Spider-Man? If you are a... Can I legit not find Spider-Man? Am I blind, bro? I know I just scrolled past him twice. I know I did. All right? I know. I'm already very aware of that. I just can't see him over here because my microphone was in the way. I can't see him over here. There he is. If you are a Venom and Spider-Man combo, not only do you get the team up for being able to be with a Venom as Spider-Man, which gives you the invulnerability window, 1 second iframe to live through basically anything, and the additional damage to be able to fire off a nice combo on your own. The team up between Venom and Spider-Man, when they utilize their ults together, is massive team wipe potential. And like, but not just him, right? Not just him. Black Panther too. Magic too. Like, Magic is huge right now with Venom. Psylocke, huge right now with Venom. And these characters that can go in, Jeff the Land Shark, even to an extent, huge with Venom, because he can go in and harass and continue to harass while Venom is going in, being the big target, and then they can all get out before they have a chance to be killed. That is massive. And Dive, just in general, in the US in general, is the most popular team comp in the game. Like, people go in, they will play Dive more often than they will play like a Deathball comp. They will play Dive more than they will play a Goats comp. They will play more than like a Double Shield. They'll wreck, you know, on Dive. They'll go in and they'll have a blast doing it because it's high risk, it's high reward, it's fast paced, and it's fucking fun. It is really fun to jump into a game and then coordinate a dive with everybody on your team, or most of the people on your team, go in there, eliminate their backline or their front line, eliminate their team, right? And then get out of there, and then you all kind of wait for your cooldowns to reset, and you get ready to do it again. Dive is huge right now. Venom is a massive W in Season 1.5, and I think they did a great job with his change. Being able to pull people in during Frenzied Arrival is like the most slept on, under the radar change that they made to one of these tank characters, and it is actually so impactful. So good shit there. Going down to a neutral character, I think that Cloak and Dagger is neutral. I think that a lot of people consider this character nerfed into the ground. They consider Cloak and Dagger to be very bad. They consider her to be trash tier, even. And in terms of the supports, with their support ultimates that are basically like, I have big circle of healing lol, right? Like, that's literally how supports work in Season 1, in Season 0, Season 1.5. That's how it's worked the whole time. You know, the more of those circle of healing support ultimates that you can bust out, the more impactful your game is going to be, the more space that you could free up for your team, the easier you'll be able to create opportunities for you to live and survive team fights and hold points, etc., etc. You know, Luna Snow walking in there, holding, pressing ult and holding a point for 12 seconds, right? And then you got your Loki on your team, goes in after her, presses ult, and becomes Luna Snow, and holds it for another 12 seconds, right? And like, that is incredibly impactful, right? Cloak and Dagger at the start of Season 1.5 got her ultimate heavily rebalanced, where prior to this, you could stack her dashes to be able to give an enormously huge amount of healing over time. If you stacked over top of each dash, you could stack it up to 4 times for literally the most healing over time in the entire game. Well, they did away with that. They said, look, we don't want you stacking them to make healing that strong. Which is fair, right? But then they buffed how much healing each single dash actually gives you, and now they deal as much healing as the other characters that have big circle of healing ultimates. So, while it is still less than a Luna Snow's healing over time, the amount of healing that you do get from a Cloak and Dagger is still enormous. You know, we're talking 250 HP per second is rivaled only by Luna in terms of the amount of HPS that it puts out. Dude, like, no one even comes close to that. You're talking about, let's talk about Sue Storm, right? Sue Storm heals 150, I want to say. I want to say it's 150 healing per second, which is, you know, enormous, right? But not anywhere close to the 250 that Cloak and Dagger does. Luna Snow also 250 heals per second. So every dash from Cloak and Dagger is exactly the same as the amount of healing that you get from the Luna Snow ultimate, but you have to place them on the map and because of that, they are slightly less impactful than the Luna Snow, who can move hers around after she presses Q. They also last a slightly shorter period of time because each dash individually dissipates. So you've got one dash, then it lasts for 5 seconds. You have 4 total, right? And the first dash will dissipate after 5, then you dash again, then the next dash dissipates, etc., etc. So you're seeing a more gradual decline to the amount of healing that Cloak and Dagger can put out compared to a Luna Snow, but with 250 HP per second, it is literally on par with the best heal in the entire game, right? And then in addition to that, they have reduced the amount of time in between dashes, where you used to pause for a single second, now you pause for only a fraction of a second, and because of that, your Magnetos are going to kill you far less often. So, for all the people that are out there saying Cloak and Dagger is like the worst healer in the entire game, it's fucking cap, dude. It's hardcore cap. She is not bad at all. This is one of the best, most impactful characters that you could possibly play, even now, even at this point in the meta. And there's no arguing it. When you play them well, top tier. And still really strong. So, are they a winner in this patch? Not necessarily, because they did get some of their ultimate potential removed. Are they a loser? Absolutely fucking not. Not even close. Cloak and Dagger is still ridiculously strong and like top tier in terms of the amount of healers. Not S tier, but like A tier. The tippity top of A tier in terms of the amount of value you can get from a Cloak and Dagger. Really strong. Very neutral in terms of how they ended up. But for losers in Season 1.5, we got to talk about the Human Torch, bro. What the fuck happened with this character? Why did they do that to my boy, bro? He came in, he could have been so strong. He could have been incredible. But then they released him in Season 1.5, and what happened? Fuck all. I mean, like, he came out, and there were people who were like, this character's low-key broken. And yeah, he was low-key broken, all right, but not in the way that they were pitching it. Like, he's broken, but because he sucks, not because he's good. You know what I mean? Like, he is not as good as you even wish he was, let alone as good as people said he was in the launch week of Season 1.5. This character sucks, dude. This character is, like, just above Mr. Fantastic in terms of rating how strong his kid is. Like, okay, if Booty Cheeks is right here, and, like, Total Ass is below it, and Mr. Fantastic is in the Total Ass tier, then, Human Torch is, like, grazing the Booty Cheeks. You know what I mean? He is D tier if Mr. Fantastic is F. He is just above completely useless. This is the Tickle Monster Extraordinaire. This is the I'm Tickle Monster but in the sky variant. You know, everybody jokes about Black Panther being not impactful enough, not dealing enough damage to actually be able to kill things. What about this fucking guy? This guy does nothing. He is not impactful in any way. His damage is too low. He got a little bit of a buff in the Season 1.5 kind of mid, what do you call it, quarter season patch, where he got a few more pellets added to his primary fire, which works like a shotgun. It had 12 before. It's pellets. It's got 14 pellets now, so it does deal slightly more damage, and it gives him a very small amount of greater forgiveness in terms of what he can do and what he can put out in terms of like damage. But that being said, he still sucks, dude. His primary fire for a character that flies is so fucking ass. Like, you have to be right in their face. You have to be right in their grill to be able to do anything with this character, anything beyond, like I tickle them for a small amount of damage, and then it gets healed up and gives the enemy healers a bunch of ult charge, right? His burst damage is basically non-existent without a ridiculously huge amount of setup. His primary fire is weak as shit. Like, Iron Man is a perfect example of the primary fire you want to see when you have a flying character. Why? Because his primary fire, it has travel time, and then it hits the ground and it deals damage, right? What it doesn't have is the need for you to be close on a character that only has 250 hit points. You don't need to be right in their face as Iron Man. And because of that, you can do a lot more work with this guy than you can with Johnny Storm. And then, in addition to the primary fire being weak, his abilities are also pretty weak. Like, you look at his Pyro Prison, right? He throws the little flaming patches down on the ground. Cool, bro. He ignites them, and they turn into a little, like, flaming field that you can keep people inside of and damage them over time. Cool, dude. It would be great if that dealt any damage, but the little tiny minuscule ticks of damage that it's actually doing is so low that it's not even worth worrying about. You know, like, you could legit stand in it and not even care, dude. It ticks for 50 damage per second, but, like, with characters having 250 HP health, yeah, they're gonna move out of that, but it's not, like, so deadly that they're gonna be afraid of it. You know what I mean? The first time they enter the area, they take 65 damage. Big whoop. That is so close to the 50 damage that they're taking on the inside of the area. No one really cares about that at all, you know? Jay Foxy, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the big Season 1.5 yap here in Marvel Rivals. We are talking about Season 1.5 as we are nearing the end of the season here, and I think it's important to cover some of these topics. Right now, we're going over the biggest winners and losers of the Season 1.5 patch, and we are currently talking about Human Torch, who is one of the biggest losers because this character is it's booty, dude. It's ass. He's so bad, dude. I wanted Human Torch to be my main in Season 1.5 when this came out. I was so excited for this character to release because I wanted him to be my main so badly. I love him. I love the character overall. I love his powers. I love what he does. I wish his primary fire was different. I wish his abilities were different. I wish that he was better. But he just isn't. And I don't know if he's ever going to get to the point where he actually is. So I think we just say goodbye and we just let him, you know, be there and be whatever he is until he either gets buffed or just remains bad. I will say, and I think this is important to understand, Bricks, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the big Season 1.5 yap. We're talking all about Marvel Rivals. It's going to be a long one today. So I will say that I think every hero shooter needs to have characters that are not that good. I do think it's important. I think it's important that you have characters that are really good, and then you balance that with characters that are not that good, because not every character has to be meta in every game, in every team comp, in every scenario, against every team comp. I don't think that every character needs to be good all the time. That is not important. It's always okay to have characters that are not as impactful, situationally useful, good maybe sometimes, maybe even if that time is very, very niche. I'm looking at you, Iron Fist. Maybe if that time is like barely actually present in the game, you know, those are fine. Your Torbjorns, you know, your guys that people play once in a grand while, that he's not that good, but every now and then you find a spot and you're like, you know what, this game for the lols, I'm gonna go this guy. You know what I mean? That is okay. That being said, I wish it wasn't the Human Torch, dude, because I wanted to love this guy so much. I wanted this to be my rival's main, and it just can't be. Just can't be. Also, the character looks cool. The skins look cool. The voice actor did a good job. I think that they nailed it. They hit it out of the park in terms of how this character looks, all the things that he does, except his kit is kind of weak. Like, if it was just more powerful, all the shit that he does right now would be totally fine and really cool. But because it's so weak, everything that he does looks like a fucking joke. And then you couple that with the fact that in the marketing for the Season 1.5 patch, they tried to tell you that he will be able to one-hit through the thing that we all wanted everybody to kill through, the support ultimates. Human Torch, when combined with Storm, they showed, they didn't say specifically, but they showed, hey, you know what? It can kill through a support ultimate, and it cannot, unless the Luna Snow stands perfectly still and gets absolutely dusted by the flame tornadoes. But yeah, dude, it just can't do anything. And that feels bad because it was supposed to have a place. And if he had that place, he would be way better. But because he doesn't have that place at all, this team-up ability, this Supernova Fire Tornado from Storm, that they put out so much marketing for, is just so goddamn useless. It looks cool as shit. Super dope, right? Has no place in the actual game, and that feels bad, man. Johnny Storm, I want you to be better. I hope that things turn around for you. Let's see. Brick says, I haven't been able to play Human Torch or Mr. Fantastic. On selection screen, they're unselectable for me. Can't even try them in practice. Don't know if this is a bug, but haven't tried deleting and re-downloading. Guess I didn't miss out on too much. Really? I have never heard that. Mike says, he's just Storm, but a bit worse. He is very similar to Storm, but a bit worse. Mike, have you heard about this bug? This problem where you can't try Mr. Fantastic and you can't try the Human Torch? I have not heard this yet at all. So this is news to me. Is this a thing? Are people running into this on a widespread basis? I've never heard of that. Bricks, I'm so sorry. If you ever do get to play with them, I can tell you that you will be wholly underwhelmed. Or like, best case scenario, you will be whelmed. As ridiculous as that sounds, in a best case scenario, you might feel neutral about them. Aside from that, they're pretty bad, dude. They're pretty goddamn bad. Pretty sad in general. Mr. Fantastic is like the worst character in the game. Human Torch is like just only slightly above him. Yeah, dude, you're gonna be whelmed. Strap in, Bricks, because you are going to feel okay about it. Yeah, and if you're not prepared for that, I don't know what to tell you. The roller coaster of emotions is coming. They look cool, they sound cool. Maybe not Mr. Fantastic's voice acting so much, because that just sounds kind of silly, but like, they are so bad. They're so fucking bad. They're definitely two of the biggest losers in the Season 1.5 patch. It's not even close, bro. They're so bad. They're so disgustingly, ridiculously bad. Going back up to, thinking about some winners now, though. I want to talk about another winner in the Season 1.5 patch. We have everybody's favorite or least favorite, the most famous, the most notorious, Luna Snow is a massive winner in the Season 1.5 patch. She got nerfed slightly. She got her ultimate charge rate nerfed. But you know what that did to take her out of the meta? The same thing that reducing Doctor Strange's health by 50 did to take him out of the meta. And that is absolutely nothing, dude. Nobody cares at all about Luna Snow's ultimate being nerfed and how often you can get it. No one gives a single fuck. You know why? Because it still lasts an eternity. 12 seconds is such a long time for an ultimate to last, especially on a character as powerful as a Luna Snow, with an ultimate as ridiculously strong as Luna has. This is ridiculously good. She is still so strong. She is one of the biggest winners in Season 1.5 because her nerf happened and nothing else, dude. And like, arguably the same could be said for Doctor Strange, but like, he is not as often picked, as often, seen in the highest level play of the game. Like, yes, you're gonna see a lot of Doctor Strange, but he is not mandatory in the way that Luna Snow is. Because of that, I don't think there's any way that you could say that she is neutral. She's not neutral. She's still winning. She's still eating good in the neighborhood. She is the Applebee's like sponsor of today's show. Luna Snow is ridiculously overpowered. She always has been. She continues to be, and never really got touched. So because of that, I think she's one of the big winners of Season 1.5. Congratulations, Luna, on your continued reign of dominance. I don't know how the fuck this is still going on, but, you know, here we are, dude. I don't make the rules, I just work here. You know what I mean? So, there we go. Luna Snow, giant winner in Season 1.5. Going to our neutral characters. The, not a winner, not a loser, but still feeling very good. Let's talk about Wolverine for a second. Wolverine got some very slight balance changes. Did kind of nothing for him. Nothing really to worry about here. Got his health kind of moved around a little bit. But in general, Season 1.5, Season 1, Wolverine is still the most insane DPS in the game for what he does. You know, Hela is, bar none, the best damage character in the entire game. She has the most range. She has the most ability to kill at range. She can kill you from no matter where you are, no matter what position you're in. She can even hit you around corners. Hela is goated for that. Wolverine is goated for killing tanks. No one kills a tank like Wolverine. No one even comes close to killing a tank like Wolverine. It is ridiculous how good he is. He is insanely powerful. The most banned, I believe, character in all of Marvel Rivals. The higher in rank you go, the more often he gets banned. This is literally the nemesis of every Vanguard player in the whole game. There's not a single Vanguard, barring Penny Parker and a stupid Wolverine, that does not get fucked by this character. Like, Wolverine is the casting couch in those videos that you have to open an incognito tab to be able to view. Like, he is, like, he fucks every character in the Vanguard role so hard. Pardon my language, but it's not even like he beats them. No, he obliterates them, all of them. Bruce Banner, done. Doctor Strange, dusted. Captain America, who? Captain who? Groot, splintered. I'll keep going. Magneto, dead. Just instantly dead. Penny Parker, if she doesn't insta-kill Wolverine with her mines and her spider bots, dead. Wolverine just kidnaps her out of the spider web. Congratulations, your healing over time is gone, your value is gone, your ability to one-hit him is gone. If he doesn't land in your trap and die, you're dead. The Thing, the only counter to Wolverine, and this is the only reason that he does not make it into the winners category, where Luna Snow, who is virtually the same as Wolverine in terms of they got a slight balance change, but nothing really bad happened to them. They remained one of the best characters, if not the best at what they do in the entire game. Wolverine does not make it into the winners category, instead is in the neutral category for Season 1.5 because of the release of The Thing, the only character in the entire game that Wolverine cannot kidnap away from their team to take to Narnia to then cut to pieces with his claws. The Thing cannot be moved, and because of that, Wolverine has a slightly harder time of killing him. But Wolverine still absolutely shits on The Thing. Like, Yancey Street, yeah, Wolverine has taken over Yancey Street. It is Wolverine's parade going down Yancey Street, and there is not a goddamn thing that Ben Grimm can do to stop it. He shits on him, dude. Thor, Wolverine shits on Thor. I'm sorry to Mike. I know you're a goated Thor. I'm sorry to all of my Thor mains, to my buddy Evan, Ethan. Wow, Evan, dude. I haven't thought about my other friend Evan in a long time. To my buddy Ethan, even, who I talk to every week about Marvel Rivals, who is also a Thor main. I know you love Thor. You know who kills you as Thor? Wolverine does. You know why? Because Wolverine is made to kill you as Thor. He kills every tank. Venom? If Venom can't swing away, congratulations, Venom, you are dead. Wolverine kills all of them. He dumpsters the tanks, and he has remained the tank dumpsterer for the entirety of the game after the first, 3 weeks. It took, 3 weeks for people to figure out how good this guy is, and then after that, they're gone, bro. There is nothing that anyone can do against a good Wolverine player except ban him. If you are in a game and you have a good Wolverine player and you're playing tank, congratulations, you need to swap off tank now. It is literally that oppressive. It is literally that strong. Mike, you can weigh in the chat here if you'd like to talk about your experience as a Thor versus Wolverine. A really good Thor versus a really good Wolverine, the Wolverine still wins. The really good Wolverine versus a really good any tank, the Wolverine still wins. He's that oppressive, he's that strong, and again, the only reason he does not rank in the neutral or in the winners spot for Season 1.5 and instead lands in the neutral spot is because The Thing is introduced and he can't be kidnapped. Aside from that, just like Luna Snow, Wolverine remains the best at what he does. He even has a voice line where he says he's the best at what he does. He's fucking right, bro. He is so absolutely spot on about that. Going to the losers now. The final loser, in my opinion, for Season 1.5, and this is a huge one. A massive L has been taken by this character, and it is, completely removed them from the meta in a way that we have not seen up to this point. It was, the smallest change, too. Their neutral game pretty much remained the same. A single change fucked them so hard that they are gone. They disappeared like a fart in the wind, and you basically never see them. And that hero is Moon Knight. Bro, I don't know if you know this, but Moon Knight is garbage now. Moon Knight is trash, dumpstered, garbage tier, so bad. He was already pretty bad prior to this, but in the Season 1 patch, there was a thing that could happen where you could just get insta-deleted by Moon Knight's ultimate. And that was so oppressive that people thought that Moon Knight was bugged. people thought that Moon Knight was literally just like broken in terms of how much damage he could do. And that ruined the game for support players. It ruined the game for anyone who got caught in the Groot Moon Knight ult combo. There was nothing that could stop him from wiping your team if he hit ultimate at the same time as a Groot ultimate. Unless you, like, even the support ultimates could not get away from that. The only thing is the iframe abilities that certain characters have, like Star-Lord being able to use his flip to get out of there. That is literally the only thing that could save you. Other than that, Moon Knight would kill you through anything. And I thought that was a decent place for him to be, because other than that, his kit is kind of shit, dude. His ability to deal damage against other characters is largely reliant on how much you're grouped up, how large your hitbox is, and whether or not he can get an Ankh near you at the exact moment that he needs it. So he can't duel other characters. Like, he just loses, bro. The Moon Knight hitbox, for those of you who don't know, the Moon Knight hitbox is larger than a lot of other characters, so he's easier to headshot than other characters, and because of that, he becomes very difficult to be able to win a 1v1 against other characters as. And beyond that, like, his Ankh is easily destructible. It can be thrown down. He can do a lot of damage with it very quickly. But that being said, it can equally, just as quickly, just be erased. And all of the value from the Ankh just gone. Just like that. Bam. Snap. Gone. Just like that. And the Ankh being his main way to deal a lot of damage makes it difficult to be able to use him in a high rank scenario where people can have the game sense to know that you need to kill the Ankh as quickly as it drops. As soon as it hits, you hear the sound cue, you turn around, you kill the Ankh. That's as fast as it comes out, that's how fast it goes away, and then it's on cooldown for a long time, right? His headshots, the damage that he deals with his headshots are not that good. Not nearly as good as Hela. Not nearly as good as Namor. Not anywhere close to as good as Hawkeye or Black Widow. Like, his headshot damage is not that high. His kit overall, it's got a little bit of mobility in there. It's got a little bit of damage in there. You've got a little bit of survivability when you have the team up with Cloak and Dagger. Aside from that, he's kind of trash, bro. He went from, like, A tier, high A tier in Season 1 to them balancing his ultimate, and now he is like C tier, like mid C. You never see this character in high ranked games. You never see him when you're playing against good people. If you are a good player and you also play against good people, you never see Moon Knight. And he gets more and more impactful the lower in rank you go. You will see more Moon Knights. You will see more Moon Knights getting value. The less skilled your opponents are, the more you can capitalize on his kit and the things that he can do overall. But just in general, he's pretty fucking bad. He's very, very bad compared to how he was in Season 1. And I don't know if the nerf to his ultimate was really warranted. I think that if you're going to buff his neutral game, you have this slippery slope where, kind of like with Black Widow, where if you buff him in the wrong way, he runs the meta really hard just because of how his primary fire chains to other targets. So if you increase the amount of damage he deals with his primary fire and he can chain his primary, then he just becomes one of the most oppressive DPS characters in the entire game. But his ultimate being able to kill through the support ults gave him like this beautiful little spot in the meta. You know, situational, kind of bad otherwise. Like, you know, you were never playing a Moon Knight into a Rocket Raccoon Jeff on the other team, you know? You were never playing a Moon Knight into a Rocket Jeff Adam triple support comp. It just wasn't happening, right? Because there was no reason to, because you could just play a different character who gets more value out of their neutral game, because you don't need the ultimate to kill through the Luna Snow ult, right? The only time you saw him was when you were playing him with a Groot to be able to pull everything into the center, and then you drop the Hands of Khonshu on him, and the Talons just fucking blow everything up, right? Well, now the Talons have been nerfed. They only deal 150 damage, and that's not enough to kill fast enough to be able to stop these support ultimates from going off, and that is the reason why Moon Knight is the biggest loser, in my opinion, of Season 1.5. The character had a place, and now he does not have a place. Like being evicted from your house. Moon Knight had a very cool spot that he fit in well, and now he has a very much not a cool spot, and he does not fit in anywhere. He's kind of garbage, And I feel bad for the people who mained this character, people who were banking on being able to take him to an extremely high rank. You can, if you're incredibly gifted, but you would get more value playing basically anybody else. And because of that, Moon Knight is the biggest loser in Season 1.5. As far as neutral characters go, in Season 1.5, that kind of rounds out my list. I think that Namor is also kind of neutral. He's still kind of eating good, but the times when you use Namor, he's really good against dive, which is becoming more prevalent right now. You could argue that he is winning, but no real changes happened to him that impact him in a way that makes it different than the Season 1 patch, so I didn't include him in the list, although he is very, very strong and very oppressive as a DPS character. Same thing with Mantis. Mantis didn't really get changed. Excuse me. And she didn't get her ultimate nerfed like the other supports got their ultimates nerfed. So because of that, in this meta, like, is she pretty good? She's still pretty good. Is she neutral? Not really, because, like, she didn't get changed at all. So because of that, she is just kind of in the exact same place that she was before, where Wolverine is still the best at what he does. Mantis is just okay. She's just okay at being a good healer. Her ultimate is just okay at soaking up damage. Her damage output is pretty good, but still kind of just okay. Like, top tier for a headshot, you know, a head clicker enthusiast, a very accurate player can get a lot of value out of her, but just like in general, you're gonna get a decent amount of value out of her, but not any more than you would have gotten out of a DPS. You know, if you want to really deal damage, you pick a damage character, right? You don't pick fucking Mantis for that. So, like, is she neutral? Not really. Is she winning? Not really. But is she a loser? Absolutely not. She is exactly the same as she was before. So arguably winning, arguably neutral, but I don't think she really deserves to be on the list because of that. But in terms of the really big winner in Season 1, or the really big winner in Season 1.5, the very last one that I have for you to consider is the Iron Man changes that happened in Season 1.5. Flying characters are not good right now. Human Torch, very easily killed by Hela, pretty easily killed by Hawkeye, very easily taken out by Punisher, and also, God, who else am I thinking of? There are a lot of characters that kill them very easily. Iron Fist can get up in the sky and latch onto them, be very sticky on them, and kill them very easily. Flying characters just in general are not that good right now. But Iron Man got a buff that makes Iron Man himself better than he has ever been. And the Gamma team up with Hulk from the start of the game has been like the highest DPS output that you could possibly have. Where you team up with Hulk, you would have 220 damage per second with his Unibeam right click, which basically is just a beam. It is literally what it says it is. It fires a beam, right? And then when you had the Gamma Overdrive, you get the beam from Hulk used to deal 220 damage per second, and that was like the most damage that you could ever put out, right? That was too strong, and the devs knew it was too strong. It was too good of a team up, and because of that, they nerfed the team up. From going, the team up was going at 220 damage, that got dropped down to 200 damage per second, and that, while it is a nerf, is not that big of a nerf. 200 damage per second is still really high. That still means in a second and a half, you have eliminated every DPS character in the entire game. They have 1.5 seconds to react to you and get out of the way before you have instantly deleted them. Assuming that you can actually do anything because you are playing Iron Man, right? So, like, just in general, a lot of times you won't be able to do anything because you'll just get fucking shot out of the sky. As soon as you peek a corner, you peek a corner, bam, instantly headshot by Hela because she's just so oppressive, right? As soon as you peek a corner, instantly being lit up by the Punisher or being instantly headshot by a Hawkeye. But if you can get in range of people, if you can get them from an angle, right, you can delete them very quickly. So the team up is still very good, but the real buff for Iron Man, and the thing that makes him a winner, is that his base Unibeam damage got buffed to 190 damage per second, which is only 10 damage less than him having the team up with the Hulk. Do you know what that means? That means that the thing that made him super good before is so useless now that it does not matter anymore. Wait a minute. The specifically inside of Armor Overdrive, right? That means that it's this ability right here, Armor Overdrive. you have to use this ability to get the big damage. That was true about the big damage. Excuse me. That was true about the big damage from his Hulk team-up as well. The 220 damage per second only happens during his armor overdrive, but that being said, the damage that it puts out is really high. The 190 damage per second that he can now put out in armor overdrive is so close to the team-up that he arguably does not ever need a Hulk ever again. There is kind of no reason to ever bring a Hulk with an Iron Man now, whereas before, if you had an Iron Man, it was almost mandatory that you brought a Hulk so that you could turn him into the death-dealing god that he was always meant to be, right? Now, he's still a death-dealing god. However, he does it all on his own, basically. That extra 10 damage per second, you're still, in a second and a half, you are still eliminating every DPS character in the entire game. That has not changed in any way. 190 damage times 1.5, right? Like, so you got your 190, and then plus another 85 damage on top of that. That is 275 damage. That is enough to kill Luna Snow. That's enough to kill, every character with 250 HP, all your 275 HP characters. The only DPS that lives, and only for a very small amount longer, a fraction of a second longer, is going to be Logan and Winter Soldier with their, Logan at base, and then also with his bonus health can also keep him alive with his passive ability that lets him live through death, right? And then Winter Soldier with his bonus health can also survive for just a very small amount longer, but not long enough that it makes a big difference. Iron Man is lethal as fuck right now. You just can't play him in this meta because you just get instantly deleted by the hit scan DPS, and that feels really bad, but I do think that Iron Man is a massive winner right now because of how good he is without the whole team up. Just on his own, Iron Man is smacking, dude. And congratulations to Tony Stark for maintaining his place in terms of one of the most deadly characters in Marvel Rivals with one of the quickest times to kill in the entire game. You know, congratulations, Iron Man. You're still there, baby. But we'll see how it works in Season 2. When Season 2 releases, we could see some more balance changes. So, we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. But that is your Season 1.5 big winners and losers. I think there are quite a few winners, quite a few losers as well. And there are some characters that just remain really good despite the changes that have happened to them. And thank you guys all for coming and watching. I'll see you next time. I'm not actually ending the stream. I just needed that so that I can add it to the YouTube video when I cut that into a YouTube video. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to cover today, and this is pretty important. The very last thing that I wanted to cover today is going to be my just want to see something real quick. I just check in here. I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here instead. Where is this? Where I heard Mike say that he had sent something into the Discord here. I don't see him. I don't see Mike with the comment that you left. I'm just going to quickly tab through some of these before I start on my final discussion here. We got Tier. Tier is in here. Hell no, they need to fix that. So proactive. Thought you were getting us with the April Foolsies. No. I just want to be able to turn that into a video later. So I want to make sure that I am talking about that and also closing out the video so that I don't have to come back and get redressed for the show again, so that I can record like a very small amount of footage here. Mike sent us some pictures, it looks like. I'm just gonna very quickly pull up Discord here inside of OBS. I don't normally do this, but for this moment, I'm going to, just for you, Mike. Let's see, add existing Discord window. Let's just put Discord up right here. And then I'm gonna general chat here. Okay, we can all see that. Yeah. I'm just making sure that it's all good. We are all good. I'm just gonna pull this up to like right here. I'm gonna pull this down beneath my camera so that we're still seeing me. And then there we go. So, Mike wanted to show us the view from his grandparents' house, which is very pretty. What state do you guys think this is in? What state do you think this is? Florida, maybe? I don't know. It's pretty green. Not sure where that is. Let's see. Let's see some of the other ones. Got yeah, I mean, it looks like you're in a city of some kind, right? So it looks nice, though. Looks nice, dude. Another one here. Looking nice. Looking cool. Very nice. Mike says they won't be back till Saturday. No big deal, dude. Probably Saturday afternoon. Then we'll get together next week and we'll do some stuff. Do some stuff here. I see you've got the barbed wire fence. Is that to make sure that no prisoners from your grandparents' house escape? Just curious. It looks nice though, dude. Looks nice. I'm gonna go ahead and react to these, cause I love that you sent these in for us to view. Thank you so much for the cool pictures, Mike. Looking nice out there. It's I don't know if it was warm for you guys, but here in Jersey, the last couple of days it has been like crazy warm, dude. Holy shit. It was like 80 degrees, something like that yesterday. And for me, I live on the 3rd floor in our apartment, so the space got really hot like it does in the summertime, but we were not prepared for the 80-degree day. I don't think that many people were really prepared for that, but you know, the temperature inside up here got up to like 84 yesterday. So you never want to see that, even with all the windows open and the breeze blowing through. Like, it was pretty goddamn hot. And I do not have air conditioners installed right now or anything, so I'm glad that it's back down to a normal temperature. Looks like it's pretty warm over at Mike's grandparents' house as well. So hope that you enjoy your trip, Mike, and I appreciate you sending us in that additional pictures. I was gonna say footage, but you know what I mean. The pictures to be able to enjoy it with you. All right, so with that being said, the last thing I wanted to talk about, I wanted to quickly go over my hopes for Season 2 of Marvel Rivals. Season 1.5 is coming to a close here in just a few days, and I think that going over our hopes for Season 2 is going to be important. I hope that in Season 2, we get continued balance for the support ultimates in the game. I still think they are too powerful. I know that support players need to be powerful as well. I know that they need to be strong. I know that they need to be able to do the circle of healing. The big healing output that they put out feels really good when you are a strategist main. You want to press Q and feel like you are saving your team from some actual bullshit, from some team wipe potential that's coming from the enemy team. I want you to still have that. However, I want it to be less in terms of the duration, specifically for Luna Snow and for the copy of Loki copying Luna Snow. I would love to see Luna's ultimate nerfed from 12 seconds down to 8 seconds so that it is in line with the rest of the support squads. I want to see her ultimate and Cloak and Dagger's ultimate healing output reduced to the same healing output as the Invisible Woman. Now, you might think, Moon, isn't that going to homogenize the game? Yes, it is. But you know what else it's going to do? It's going to open up massive counterplay potential. There are a very small amount of certain combinations that can counter the current Luna Snow ultimate, and I would love to see more balance going through in that regard. I think it is imperative that NetEase balances these support ultimates to be able to provide value without becoming so oppressive that they run the game for the entire time that they are up. If you have a Luna Snow and you have a Loki, you can literally stand there in the face of the enemy while the enemy does nothing for 24 seconds. The same thing goes for the enemy team. If they also have a Luna Snow and they also have a Loki, you can stand there for literally 48 seconds worth of team fighting. Almost an entire minute worth of team fighting. And have nothing be accomplished. No kills from either side. Just fucking standing around waiting to be able to play the game again. And I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good for the health of the game. I don't think that's fun for the DPS players or the tank players. I know it's fun for the support players to be able to press Q and live forever. However, I do think it is important that there is counterplay between these things so that we can have a more balanced ecosystem and a more fun game to play overall. There always needs to be a paper to cover a rock, a scissors to cut a paper, and a rock to break the scissors. And if you can't do those things, if there's not counters to every single thing in the entire game, if there's not enough counters, then the game becomes oppressive and run by the things that are the most overpowered. When you play rock, paper, scissors, you don't want somebody to hold up a gun when it's time to show your hand. You know what I mean? And then they go, haha, gun beats everything. And you're like, well, guess I'll go fuck myself, right? Well, Luna Snow's ultimate is the gun of Marvel Rivals. Please turn it into a rock, a paper, or a scissors so that we can more easily counter it. And the same thing goes with Loki's copy. I don't want Loki's copy to have this version of Luna Snow's ultimate anymore either. Please continue balancing support ultimates so that we have a better time playing against them. The next thing in my list, my wish list for Season 2 of Marvel Rivals, I hope that the next character that they release defines the meta of Season 2. I hope that your ability to pick this character and literally carve a space for yourself in the meta is so huge. Like, with the release of Fantastic Four, we saw two that were really good meta-defining heroes. The Thing and Sue Storm are insane. So fucking good. Both at the Vanguard role and at the strategist role. Sue Storm is amazing. Her ultimate is incredible. Her neutral game is great. Same with The Thing. His ultimate is incredible. His neutral game is great. They do their job super well. They absolutely dumpster in terms of new characters that have come out. They dumpster what you could have expected. Knocked it out of the park, bro. Super fucking cool. Very thematic. Cool animations. Very cool voice lines. The Thing's voice actor is top tier, dude. I want to see the next hero that releases in Marvel Rivals be equal to the strength of these two heroes. I want them to be meta-defining. I want them to be incredibly strong. And I want them to find their place and like really, really come in hot. Not like we've had the other characters come in. Like, they could even be borderline OP. They could even be kind of overpowered when they come in. And I would be more all right with it than I would be about the release of Johnny Storm and the release of Mr. Fantastic. These two characters are just so weak comparatively that it almost feels like we did not get another hero released. We got Sue Storm? Yes. Did we get another hero? I mean, we got a guy in a hero suit, right? When we got The Thing, we got a brand new hero, bro. He's fucking awesome. When the Johnny Storm released along with him, did we get a new hero? I mean, we got a guy in a hero suit. Again, that's kind of how it felt. I want to see the next guy, whoever it is, guy, girl, hero. I want to see the next addition to Marvel Rivals fucking smash off the jump, bro. I want people to insta-lock that character because of how good they are. I want in every single game for that character to show up for the entirety of the meta of Season 2, all the way up to the mid-season patch when they balance them back in line. And then I still want them to be in the meta in Season 2 after the mid-season patch. Please, NetEase, if you're listening to this, knock it out of the park with this next character so that we can all really, really enjoy whoever they decide to put in. I don't know if it's Blade. We got the little Blade teaser at the beginning of this Season 1.5 patch. Blade is actually inside of the map that we got in the Season 1.5 patch with The Thing and Johnny Storm's release. The Manhattan map, the Central Park map, as you die and you come back, when you're defending point 2, you will see Blade. He's like stuck, right? He's like stuck in like an energy prison or whatever. You can see Blade there. If it is Blade, fuck yeah, dude. I will main Blade next season. If they make Blade really OP, I want him to be really good. If it's not Blade, that's totally fine too. You want to add Emma Frost from the X-Men so that we have another female Vanguard? I'm fine with that. You want to add literally anyone? I'm fine with it. Just make sure that they come in swinging, bro. I want them to be super good. And if they're not, I think it's a big miss. I think you can only have so many characters, especially now that we're moving into this new season and characters are going to release as one at a time, right? And then another one in the mid-season patch. If you're only releasing one character at a time, that character has to smack, or the hype will die very quickly. Like the mid-season character release, the Season 2 character release, if both of them absolutely dumpster and they carve themselves into the meta really well, I think that the hype will continue much longer than they would have if they released in a kind of weak state, or as I like to call it, a flaccid release, right? Like if you have a character that comes out and they're just a limp dick version of a different character, nobody's gonna want to play that shit, bro. Get that out of here. Like we're just gonna play the same characters that we played before, and then people are gonna get bored because it's, you know, same old, and then before you know it, they're gonna be gone. So I think it's really important that they dive into this next season with a banger character that slaps, that comes in and fucks people up out of the gate, and that is a great deal. Again, because it's free, you literally can't beat having free new characters every 6 weeks, right? And in season 1, with the 2 free new characters, like we were eating as good as we could possibly eat. As gamers, we are winning with that release and that cadence. Even though we're going down to 1 every 6 weeks, I still think we can be winning as long as they do it correctly. Please, NetEase, please do it correctly. The other thing I want to see is more DPS agency, right? And I think that this is important. This ties into the nerfing of the support ultimates, but the DPS characters are shut down a little bit too much in Marvel Rivals. So some of them are really, really strong, and I'm not arguing that. Hela, I'm looking at you. Namor, I'm looking at you. Bucky, I got my eye on you, guy. Like, these characters are ridiculously strong, right? But what about the other guys, right? Like, what about other people that you play and very rarely get to have a ton of value on? Iron Man, Hawkeye, to a lesser extent, right? Black Panther, right? Like, I want to see Moon Knight come in and fuck shit up. I want to see these characters have agency, have the ability to make choices that are meaningful and impactful and can spiral them into a good place in the meta. I want them to be able to deal damage and use their ultimate and get kills with it. I want them to be able to have value, because if we argue that the support ultimates should be able to press Q and feel like they're keeping their team alive, the Circle of Healing support ultimates, that we're going to argue that they should be able to press Q and feel like they're keeping their team alive with the power of their ultimate, right? The same thing should be said for the DPS characters, where when they press Q, shit should fall over, and I will die on that hill. That's the hill that I am choosing to fight it out on, dude. If the DPS characters can't also feel like they are valuable, then you are going to lose your game faster than any other way that you could possibly have lost it. DPS is the most valuable, and when I say valuable, I mean monetarily valuable, most popular role by a long shot. The reason for that is because people want to play DPS. They want to go in and get kills. They want to be able to go in there and dominate a lobby with the power of their skill and the combination of their skill mixed with their game sense and their ability to use things correctly and time it correctly. And while that can still be the case, and certain characters are better at that than others, Bucky, you piece of shit, you know, there are so many characters that in this game that are in the DPS role that just can't, you know, and we're looking at our Spider-Man that gets hard countered by Namor. We're looking at Mr. Fantastic. We're looking at Human Torch. We're looking at Moon Knight. You know, we're looking at a lot of these DPS characters, even Iron Fist to a lesser extent. I think his changes were okay, but I still think there's a lot that could be done with this character to make him feel like you are fucking shit up when you pick him, because ultimately that's what we want as DPS players. We want to go in and we want to kick ass, take names, and then feel like we are a badass motherfucker, and then end the play session on a high, you know? And every time a DPS player presses Q, I want to see something pop up in the kill feed. Every single time. I don't want the support ults to be able to counter that. I don't want the, you know, to an extent, right? The support ult should be able to counter neutral games, no problem. But if there's a DPS ult going off, the support ult should be clutching their cheeks. They should be worried that it will not save their team. And I think that is good game balance. The DPS ult should be as equally threatening as the support ult is protective. And I think once we get to that state, we'll be in a really good place for Marvel Rivals. The last thing I want to see in Season 2 is buffs to Mr. Fantastic and buffs to the Human Torch, as well as nerfs to Bucky, Namor, and Hela. Specifically, those 3 characters need to be brought down a little bit. I think that Hela, being able to 2-tap across the map, I think that probably needs to be changed. Like, let's just be real. 2-tapping is great up to a certain range. I do think that there is a point where Hela should have to throw in an additional body shot. There should be a breakpoint where she can 2-tap 250 HP targets to a certain extent. After that, she should have to continue to add more body shots or more headshots into the mix to be able to secure those kills. She is too free in terms of her value right now. Because she is hit scan, she doesn't have to worry about the travel time interrupting her ability to hit shots. She is too free in terms of the value that she can get. I want to see her nerfed slightly. Not to the ground, but slightly, so that she has to work a little bit harder for her kills. Namor, I feel the same way about Namor. Namor is such an S-tier pick. He combos well with Rocket, he combos well with Luna because of the team-up and the slowing squids, he combos well against all the flanking dive characters in the entire game, and with dive being more meta now, and moving into Season 2 being more meta than it's ever been, I think that Namor needs to be adjusted slightly. His headshot damage is fucking nuts, although he does use a projectile instead of a hit scan, so that is pretty good. His turrets are a little bit too free. If we reduce the fire rate of the turrets, like the damage that they deal is kind of okay, but if we put out like slightly less bullets, 2 to 3 less shots per turret, I think that we will be in a better place, because the flanking characters will be able to play the game a little bit more. Magic, we're talking about Psylocke, we got Spider-Man, Jeff the Landshark, a lot of these Venom, to a lesser extent. These characters get hurt very heavily by having a Namor on the team, and that's just his baseline value. It's not a skill exchange. There's an argument to be made where the skill exchange happens, and then it's okay for someone to counter as hard as Namor does, right? Like, Namor can be the scissors to the Spider-Man's paper, and that is totally fine, as long as it is the skill of the Namor that is outskilling the Spider-Man, right? And I think that's the most important part here, because it's not the skill of the Namor, it's the baseline value that he gets for throwing the turret out, right? And especially when he has the Luna Snow team up, it is the baseline value that he gets for throwing the turret out, and in addition to the damage it deals, also slowing targets, which makes him insanely powerful, right? I think Namor needs to be just slightly reined in a little bit, his baseline value specifically, because in the lower ranks, and this is true about like the Torbjorn turret in fucking Overwatch too, in the lower ranks of this game, bronze, silver, gold, even platinum, the best character in the entire game is Namor's squid, bro. Just like Torbjorn's turrets were the best character in bronze in Overwatch, and silver, and gold. The most accurate character in the entire game is Namor's squids. All the way up until you're getting into your GM and Celestial lobbies. Like, a gold Namor can deal a massive amount of baseline value against the flanking characters, and I think that needs to be tuned down some. Bucky. I want to talk about Bucky right now. Bucky needs to be nerfed. His ultimate needs to be stopped. I love what they have done with it. I love his ability to chain the ultimate back-to-back to an extent. There needs to be a stopping point where Bucky's ultimate is not as good. Bucky should not get an ult reset against a Loki clone. Bucky should not get an ult reset as often as he can get them. And it should last less time in between each reset when he has to use the next one. I'm talking it lasts 8 seconds currently. After he goes, he uses the Kraken Impact, and then he has 8 full seconds to get a kill, and then it's 5 seconds to get a kill, and then 8 seconds to hold that before the reset dissipates, and then he can no longer press it to go again, right? So the time after he gets the reset needs to be nerfed down. And I would say if it's 8 seconds now, it needs to be like 5 seconds. The follow-up time to get a reset needs to be shaved down very slightly. I'm going to say like 1 second off of the follow-up time. And so that means, and also there needs to be a cap for how many times he can do it. So if there are 6 people on a team, Bucky can ult reset, let's say 4 times. Let's say he can ult reset 3 times, right? And this still allows you these situations where you can 6-man wipe with Bucky's ultimate, but not infinitely. Not Bucky used ult, okay, well, I killed 3 guys as Bucky, and now Adam Warlock reses them, and then I'm gonna crack an impact on them one at a time until I have like 9 or 10 or 12 ult resets in a row, back to back to back, and I'm going to use it on this Loki clone, and that's going to reset it, and I'm going to use it on this guy who's low health over here, and that's going to reset it, just forever and ever and ever. Bucky needs to be tuned down in that way. Cap his amount of ultimate resets, reduce the amount of time that he can reset after tagging somebody with the culling debuff. The culling debuff is like the thing that makes the bottom of your health bar be the part where you die, right? So it's like 20% of your health. If you reach that 20% peak or part with when you are facing against a Bucky, then you will instantly die and Bucky will get the ult reset. So reduce his ult resets, the max number of them, reduce the time that he can kill you while the culling debuff is active, and then reduce the time in between each one. Each, again, needs to happen faster. And then remove his ability to reset on things that don't make sense. He can't reset on a squid from Namor, right? He should not be able to reset on a clone from Loki. These are the same thing. Neither one of them is a player. So he should not be resetting his ultimate on it. And I will die on that, right? He doesn't reset ult by Kraken impacting a Squirrel Girl's ultimate. And if he did, that would be stupid, right? I think we can all agree that would be fucking stupid, right? So if he can't do it on this thing, which is not a player, and he can't do it on Namor's squids, which are not players, why can he do it on Loki's clones, which are not players? That's not a guy, bro. So that should be nerfed. In my opinion, all of those things need to be nerfed, right? Now, let's talk about what needs to be buffed. The balance changes that need to happen on the plus side. I think that the balance changes that need to happen on the plus side, Mr. Fantastic needs to be balanced. I just realized I forgot to say something earlier. I'll add that in at the end of this so that I can add it in post for the editing of the original video that I was making today. But just, I'll talk about that later. Mr. Fantastic needs to be buffed. In terms of the characters that need a bump, this guy, you need to boost his damage. Zio, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here. It's been a long time no see. It's good to see you. Mike says we should see on Friday about the new character. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens on Friday and see what the streamers say about the new character that is coming out. I would love to have been invited to that, but I was not, and that's totally fine. Maybe we'll get one in the future. As of right now, I'm just happy making the Marvel Rivals content and enjoying myself here. You also said that's when they're showing new season stuff. That's what you heard. Yeah, I heard that too. Hopefully on Friday, we get to see some cool stuff. Going back to what I was saying, with Mr. Fantastic, we absolutely need to buff this character. This hero needs a large increase to his damage. His primary fire that he puts out is not that strong. When he goes into his tank form, his primary fire that was already not that strong, inside of his electric strength tank form, I'm just gonna let him beef himself up, right? Bang. You see this? When he goes into big tank form and he goes up to like 950 HP, max, right? And he's got a large amount of HP, right? I will give them this. That is a lot of hit points. But his shitty primary fire that was already shitty gets even worse when you use it inside of this form, and his damage was already bad. So like his damage needs to be buffed across the board. He needs to deal more damage in the elastic strength state. This state right here, when he gains a bunch of bonus health, reduce some of the bonus health that he gets, and for the love of God, make this a scarier version of his natural kit. Because not only does he deal less damage when he's in this form, he also has less range on his primary fire, which is crazy to me. Like, how do you make this look so imposing and then reduce its effectiveness so badly? Why would you do that? He's already so bad, right? So, like, if they increase his primary fire damage by a lot, like a good amount, it's going to require a good-sized buff to be able to put him into the meta. And then you increase his damage inside of his elastic strength form, so when he gets big, and he's in your face, that shit should be scary, like a mini ultimate, right? But reduce how much hit points he has, because this hybrid role that you've created for Mr. Fantastic is not working. He does not do the off-tank role well. He's bad at it because he doesn't deal enough damage to be imposing or scary or even really threatening. If there's one healer nearby, you just heal through it, right? Like, you just heal through all of his damage, and then you either leave before he kills you, or you just heal through all of his damage forever, and he just does nothing, right? And that's his base form. When he goes into his elastic strength form, he's actually less scary. Like, the big form, the reason tanks are big is to show that they're scary and deadly, right? So when he goes big, he needs to be scary and deadly. Please, for the love of God, buff this man's damage a lot. a lot, and reduce the amount of tankiness that he has across the board. Reduce his health in the elastic strength form, reduce the amount of damage absorption, extra health that he gets when he utilizes his flexible elongation, reduce the amount of time he can remain in his reflexive rubber state, as well as lower the amount of damage that he deals before he shoots your primary fire back at them. Reduce his tankiness across the board, increase his damage across the board. I would love to see that for Season 2, and then the other buff I want to see for Season 2, and for the love of God, I am begging you, buff the Human Torch. And Hanny, I saw you say, how would you fix Johnny Storm? Okay, so here's what it comes down to. Johnny Storm needs effective burst damage. His primary fire, if you're right in their face, can be decently strong. You see it? You see it kills, takes like 4 shots to kill somebody who is literally right next to him, literally right in front of him. This is a DPS character. 4 shots to kill, where hell it can 2-tap them in the head and kill them from any range, right? This is a shotgun primary fire as well. When you're this close, that thing should fucking delete you. It should ruin your day to be this close to a Johnny Storm. But as a flying character, I don't think that a shotgun-style primary fire works in general, just based on how being in the air removes your ability to be close, right? So you need to increase his damage across the board by a lot. His ultimate, though, needs to be buffed super hard. His Supernova ultimate... Supernova! You get that initial blast of damage. That can remain the same. That's totally fine. But these fire tornadoes... Can I ask you, why do you make a tornado, but the tornado does not pull you into the center? Have you considered that? If you watch as this tornado lands, these guys don't get moved at all. You do realize that a tornado is massive wind that is displacing you from the spot that you are currently at, right? You've seen it rip a house out of the ground. You know, you've seen debris flying through the air. You've seen videos of tornadoes if you've never seen one in real life. Like, we had a tornado around here flip a car in the mall parking lot, dude. Like, the tornado needs to have impact. Where it hits, it is scary. This tornado, not scary. It deals a good amount of damage. It's all right. It's not bad. It could deal more damage. It could deal even more damage, right? And then when it lands near you, it needs to pull you into the tornado so that you have to actively work against getting out of it. This is me struggling against the tornado's wind. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, like, this is me struggling to get out of the tornado before it's too late. When that tornado lands next to you, it should be a pants shitter moment, you know? And if you get caught in between all 3 tornadoes, fuck you, you should die. That's how I feel about it. There should be no escape. If all 3 of those tornadoes land next to you, or you get, like, Sue Storm booped into the middle of them, there should be no escape from that damage, dude. There's no way you're getting away from that one, right? But as it stands right now, they're just incredibly weak. They're stationary. They don't move. Imagine if they moved. Imagine if they roamed, intelligently roamed, in the way that Squirrel Girl's ultimate intelligently seeks you out. That would be scary as fuck, right? Now imagine if they roamed and pulled you into the center. That would also be scary, right? Now imagine if they did all of those things, but they also dealt more damage too. And his neutral game also dealt more damage too. I think that would be huge. I think that is a massive thing that needs to happen. Please, for the love of God, buff Johnny Storm. He is a really good character. Really cool. Well voice acted. The art style that you made for him looks dope. The skins that you made for him, the cosmetics, look dope. Bro, look at this thing, dude. It's amazing. It looks so cool. But you know what doesn't look cool? Losing over and over again because you can't get any value as Johnny Storm. Fix this dude. Make him OP. I don't even care if he's OP. I don't even care, dude. Make him OP. Make him really powerful and nerf hella so that the flying characters have a chance to be in the sun. Not like Storm in Season 1. Not that valuable, right? But incredibly valuable. I want to see this guy shoot to the bottom of A tier in terms of his meta viability. I would love to see him that level of power. Please, NetEase, please. And that's going to do it for my list of things that I wish we could see in the Season 2 meta. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this content as I've gone through it all, and I hope that I can see you again. If you have your own opinions about this, I would love to see your comments either here in the live chat or if you're catching this on the replay, I would love to see your comments in the comments section down below. Please leave them for me so that I can read them, consider your opinions, and talk about them in a future show. We are coming to the close of Season 1.5 here in Marvel Rivals, and it's been a banger, dude. It's been a banger season. It's been a banger game since the launch. Nothing has really gone horribly wrong with this game compared to a lot of other shooters in the genre, in the industry. A lot of games are losing massive amounts of their studios. A lot of games are losing massive amounts of their player base. And Marvel Rivals, well, it's lost a bit of the player base. It's lost a bit of the dev cycle, the devs that were currently working on it. In general, I think it's still very strong. I think it's still going really strong, and I think it's really important that we continue on with this pace, because if NetEase can continue delivering us this quality content and giving us the things that we want with frequent balance changes, with understanding the meta and why certain things are good compared to why other things are good, with releasing heroes at a reasonable state and making sure that those heroes come in hot, no pun intended, Johnny Storm. I want them to come in swinging, dude. I want them to come in with BDE, with that big dong energy. Yeah, bro, I want to see it, dude. I want to see everything that they are currently doing, but continuing on, and I think that we will be shaping up for a really good Season 2 moving in here. I want to see their Battle Pass, too. I hope it's really good. I hope it's really, really disgusting. I love the Season 1 Battle Pass. I love all of the cosmetics that come along with it, so I'm excited for Season 2, and yeah. So the one thing that I didn't talk about earlier, and that I think is very important, I think another one of the winners in the Season 1.5 patch here for Marvel Rivals is Scarlet Witch. I think that Scarlet Witch has been a very low meta character in terms of what she does, in terms of is she good, and in general, I think that she's not very good. You know, I think that, and again, I said this before, I think that it's okay for certain characters to be bad, but I do think that Scarlet Witch needed a bump here in the game. She is some people's favorite hero, and like the amount of times that you were seeing her were pretty much never. Every now and then you'd see one, and they would most of the time do absolutely nothing. But the thing that was the most egregious part of her kit is her ultimate, and how easy it was for her ultimate to be shut down. So prior to the Season 1 patch, the ultimate would go off, you'd hear her, she'd go, "Pure!" And by the time the word pure was over, she was dead. She was already looking at the respawn screen. She's trying to say pure chaos, but the initiation, the initial, how do you want to call it? The damage of her ultimate took so long to activate. The activation phase is what I was trying to say. Took so long that she would just die before her ultimate went off, and that denied her the value of her ultimate. And her neutral game is not strong enough that you can realistically say that, well, she doesn't really need a strong ultimate, because look at how good her neutral game is, right? That's not really the case here, because her neutral game isn't even really that good. It's not even really that impactful. So you absolutely need to have this character be better, and the Season 1.5 patch gave her a nice buff to her ultimate. Now when she pops it, she will have 150 bonus health. Excuse me. She will have 100. Let me just make sure I'm not stupid here. Of course, it doesn't show it now. It doesn't show it in the preview window here. Let me just see. I want to say it's 100. And I second-guessed myself there as I was saying it. Yeah, 100. Okay, so something's up with the mic. Oh, no. What's going on with our mic? Thank you for the heads up. I don't see anything wrong with the mic. Testing. Testing. This is me testing the microphone to make sure that the mic is good. You let me know. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Which, what is it? What's going on? Is it alright? Did we catch a lag spike there? What was that? I'm not sure. I hear you fine on my end. Okay, well, at least there's that. At least there's that. Maybe, maybe we just ran into a little bit of latency, a little bit of trouble there. Anyway, so I think that one of the biggest winners of Season 1.5 is Scarlet Witch because of the 100 bonus health that she gets in her ultimate now. You are now seeing more Scarlet Witches get value out of their ultimate than you ever have before. Literally, they would just die before they ever had a chance to provide any value on their ultimate prior to this change. I think it's great that we're seeing more Scarlet Witches kind of enter the meta. She's not the best character, still pretty bad in terms of the meta at large, but that being said, I think she's pretty good in terms of where she was last season, mid-season, you know, in the start of Season 1 compared to where we currently are at the end of Season 1.5. I have seen more Scarlet Witch kills with her ultimate than I have ever seen leading up to this point. In the last, 6 weeks, I have seen more Scarlet Witch kills than I saw in the prior 2 months to whatever it was, 2.5 months of the game being out. Yeah, no problem, Bricks, no problem. I appreciate you giving me the heads up. If ever there is a problem with my mic or my camera or, I don't know, my socks are visible in the camera somehow or something, for the love of God, please tell me. Because I am looking at screens that have my face on them, but I cannot hear me talking. And I can only view so much information at the same time, So, because of the 100 bonus health, I think that Scarlet Witch is doing better than she's ever done. I think she's doing great in the meta right now. She doesn't need to be the best. She does a good job at doing what she does, and I think that she is absolutely winning in the Season 1.5 meta. It's not winning to the extent that Hela is winning, but it's winning for Wanda, and I think that's fine. A little Wanda win is actually a good thing. Those are my thoughts on the Season 1.5 patch here inside of Marvel Rivals. I think that this has been a banger season. At the start of this show, I talked at length in this show about all of the things going on in Marvel Rivals. Oh, the only thing I didn't mention is the Season 1 rank reset that they thought about doing. I think it's a W on NetEase's part to announce that there would be a rank reset, and then have the community have backlash about it. They felt some type of way. They did not want their rank to be reset so early in the season. And NetEase said, all right, fam, fair enough. We just won't do it then. And they didn't. And I think that is huge as well. Again, like I talked about earlier, that's building the player trust that you so desperately need when a game is new like this. You need them to believe in you as a company, and NetEase did a great job pulling that off there, and I think they continue to do a great job pulling that off across the board. I talked about pretty much everything in the game leading up to this point here. So I talked about the monetization, I talked about how the game launched, I talked about the characters, talked about the new hero releases, talked about the in-game events, I talked about the Season 1 balance, the Season 1.5 balance, the IP as a whole, just in general. I covered pretty much everything in this show, so if you want to hear my opinions about stuff, there's plenty of content for you to go back and enjoy, and yeah, dude, that's my Season 1.5 big yap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out today. Thank you to Tyr for being here right off the start. Thank you to Hanny for being here right off the start. Thanks to Mike for the text inside of the Discord, as well as being here right off the, pretty much right off the jump of the show. We had, the messages in the Discord were really cool, dude. I appreciate seeing the view from your grandparents' house. Thank you to Bricks for coming and hanging out with me. And as always, thanks for the heads up about my mic and stuff. Thanks to Jay Foxy for being here. Thank you to Zio. Thank you to everybody for coming and watching. I will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with some gameplay footage for you. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your afternoon. And I'm Moonchild of Dude No Way. And I will see you in the next stream. Take care.